Morning, team. Morning. How's it going, everyone? Okay, maybe some of you caught some really nice moves overnight. You were prepared for it. We had talked about it yesterday, hadn't we? We talked about it. Okay, so what do we have here? Let's actually start off on the weekly as a reminder. All right, we're above the weekly Bollinger Band. This is unprecedented times, right? We don't do this. Okay, and you can see so far this week starting to set out like a failed breakout of last week's high. Okay, failed breakout yesterday, and we're starting to come back inside. All right, so potentially today we're watching for sells versus sort of 340s would be our max level. We'd actually like it to be much lower than that, and I'll go over on the hourly. Voice is chopping, really? Really? Sound like a kid. Okay. I don't really know what to do about that. Everything's set up perfectly. Let's unplug this. So it sounds squeaky. Well, everyone shut out because we need to get this fixed. Okay, better now. Okay, there we go. Okay, so into daily. Daily, you can see we're failing and we're coming back inside. We sold in balance from the drive up that we had in Friday, rejecting the top daily Bollinger Band, as we always talk about, coming down towards the 5-day moving average. All right, so this is the range right now. If we lose the 5-day, we're thinking about mean reversion back down there. We can think about that as and when it happens, not beforehand. Higher time frames into the hourlies. All right, you can see what we're looking for today. Please don't fail before we've got, while I'm doing this, it'd be very annoying. Very annoying. Okay, for current week's profile, this is what we talked about yesterday. All right, we're very thick up here, which means as we're gapping down, all these buyers who were late to the party, who came in since the end of play Friday, on Sunday and yesterday, are now underwater. All right, they're now underwater. It's the first time we've had this on a higher time frame for about 3 or 4 weeks. So all of this is underwater, which means what? Well, the easier move is going to be downside right now. All right, now we did tag this 100 level overnight, which I had marked out for you. These are the same levels we looked at in the weekly newsletter. All right, so if we start to reject this up here today, which we're already starting to do, unfortunately, while I'm talking to you, which is very annoying, but this grey box here, you would expect it to stay heavy. Ideally, the most ideal move, I will tell you now, will be a sweep of 250s. All right, a little push above 250s into this low volume node from the current week, and a sell back down to 100. Certainly down to 165, 150. Under 100, all right, so the moves would be, I'd be looking for this. If we stay heavy here, we're looking for a reprice down to 900, and if they get very heavy, down to the previous week point of control, which is still naked. All right, we haven't come down into there since. If they use this as a giant trap, then we're going to lift upside through 250, maybe up towards 300, pull back, and start to base in the current week range for that rotation. All right, that's the alternative play. If this is a failed breakout, if this is a look below and fail, this will be the move, but that's not my expectancy. My expectancy right now is a push to be sold into. Now, where's it going to sell into? Well, we have these low volume nodes from overnight. The reason I'm saying 250 is I would quite like a sweep. All right, I would quite like it to come and take out these players here. Oh man, this is frustrating. I'd quite like it to come and take out some of these players here. You can see we're going to Asia pivot right now. Something like that into the low volume node and a sell would be great. So I'd love to see like a second leg, and then up here on a lower time frame, we're looking for something that would look kind of like this, yeah, and then that move back down. What we need to be careful of, all right, is if you're going to look for the sells in here, all right, in this node, if you're going to look for the sells in here, if they start screaming through the 300s, right, you have to get out or leave it alone, because the squeeze is available if they wanted to all the way up to the gamma, which is at 370, which, by the way, is perfectly positioned between previous day value area low and previous week value area high. So we know that this is a big R level up here. So it's possible they come for a scream up there before they see failure. What we'd need to be careful of is if they do this, all right, if you're going to play short here, you then need to cover a chunk of it in here, because then they can do that look below and fail move. All right, so you have to be aware of where you're trading today and what the possibilities are. All right, let's go through ES and everything else. All right, it's the same kind of story, but with strength. All right, so ES, we'd be looking to take out this down here today. If we just make this basic, we can just add some volume on here. Nope, that's not what we want. All right, since this play here, all right, you're into this high volume mode here. You'd want a rejection basically where you are right now, 420s. 420s, and then the failure underneath 400s will open up the door for that crack. All right, so 420s, if they need to lift 430s, but you would certainly not want it above that top side of 430 range. 420s ideally stays heavy for you guys playing at ES. It's the same move. All right, you're looking for, here's the big downside move. You're looking to take some of these stops out, see some failures, play the backside back down. If they continue to hold here, just be careful, but it's possible. We've got one of these, but you know, they don't have to do it today, and it will probably depend on the chip names, which we can go through shortly. Spiders, all right, same story. You can see what we're setting up there. There's the liquidity, there's the failure to reclaim. All right, ideally you stay heavy under 37s. They might want to pop 38s, come back under 37s, then look for that failure. All right, that would be your ideal move. If they gap fill all the way back up here again, that would not be ideal. All right, you really don't want to see the spiders do that if you're looking for the short side. You don't want too much strength. Qs, this is where we have the relative weakness. This is, for me, the easiest sell right now. You can see there's the 3 drives, there's the gap down. Where are the flow zones? Move them back, there we go. There's the flow zones, and there's the failure. All right, so we want to stay heavy versus 10s. All right, you don't want to see it reclaim 10s. Reclaim 10s, and we're coming up to 12s. There is still a shelf there, but you know, that's quite a lot. It's a big shove back up. So ideally, 10 stay heavy for you guys playing the Qs. All right, let's get down into these. Dixie's finding a bid, which is good because we're the inverse now. You might have seen I posted on Twitter saying it feels close. It feels close. We can't have everything go up the same way. All right, something's going to give. Here we're starting to see the cracks in the market now. Right, for the first time. We're in a range here on gold. Just got to let that build out for a bit. VIX, like we said, there's a big cool wall put in at 20 last week. We talked about that on Friday. I said to you, why have they put that in? For a reason. Right, if we start to base, we've hit 19s. If we start to base out, that's where they want to go. That will be the weakness. This is the hedge on the market right now. All right, we talked about it on Friday. What's the take profit trader code? Flow zone. Flow zone. All right, let's have a look at the mag. In fact, let's have a look at the Soxal first so you can see what we're seeing here. Bit of a blow off. 200 is the level I'd like to see us come to, but that's our first gap down on the SOXL. All right, these are the chip names gapping down. All right, and if we see weakness start to come certainly under 71s, that's the big move to 65s. This will be all your MU, your NVIDIA, your AMD, all these names starting to cascade down and into take profit zones. All right, so we were aware that this is coming soon. If they reclaim, all the way up here is their target, 20s. All right, mag. Most of the mag were gapping down like for last time I looked, about 15-20 minutes ago. All right, Apple has relative strength. Remember, this doesn't have the exposure to AI infrastructure that everyone else has. So it's holding up all right versus RBS zone. All right, building out maybe bullish liquidity here. If it wants to get going, 295 is the level on Apple. Amazon gapping down there, as you can see, losing last week's bids here into 270. So anything that fails, 260, 850, 270, any fail up there, you're looking for more downside pressure to start coming in these markets. Goog, same story. All right, it's actually gap filled, so that's impressive. It's a good pushback, but you'd be watching. We're thin in here, we're thick here. Look, it's not surprising it found a bid where it did, is it? So we're looking for this trade up to fail now, probably 290s. top side if it really gets going into the VWAP and the cool wall. But otherwise, I'd be watching these after hours levels and close levels from yesterday. So 86s, if we felt 86s, we're coming back down to 83s. Reclaim 86s is going to attempt to get to 88s and 290s, 390s, sorry. Meta, same story, gapping down, starting to see some weakness in these tapes. Remember, this has actually been in a sell since earnings. All right, this is the rejection point here. 600 is your under over higher time frame. Simple as that. Under 600, heaviness. Over 600, potential squeeze back. Microsoft, this looks like a stronger one out of them all. So this is finding a bid. We're long in this, and it's coming to some pretty big levels on the daily. And it's starting to try and hold. All right, and it's trying to get back and fill its gap all the way up here to 482s. But we'll see. It's got a long way to go, but we're just sort of traversing sideways if you zoom out here. But strength there at the bottom of the range, coming up to the midpoint, but still in a range. Nvidia, as we said with the chips, all right, all-time highs, failing to follow through here. This is your level, 219s, 220s. All right, if they can't reclaim that, we're going to come back down into these kind of zones here. All right, so at the moment it's trying to hold an RBS here, but if we fail 219s, 220s, I would expect a new leg down. So that's your under over for the day on Nvidia. Tesla, same story. Remember, yesterday was a monster move. Remember, Nvidia's got earnings next week. All right, so we're trying to price a lot of that in like normal. All right, monster move on Tesla. All right, through the 420s. There's your 420 hold that we talk about all the time. Up to the 450s. Cool wall there. Pulling back, this is still bullish all the time. It's holding 430s, and then we'll try and complete this rotation to 460. If we lose the 430s and we go sideways here, then we can talk about the slide back in. But at the moment, still bullish, gapping down. But can it hold an RBS zone? Do dips hold at 430 for that move to 460 on a swing? All right, Oracle software still trying to find a little bit of a bid, starting to get going in a range here. Nothing really to look at. AMD probably coming off. Yeah, all these names coming off. I sold a bit more AMD yesterday, so I was up 180% on AMD. Absolute madness. I've got bugger all left. I've had bugger all left for a while. So AMD starting to fail now versus 55s and 60s. All right, so if they stay heavy here, you'd expect some form of RBS retest of 430, and if they fail that, into this range. And then if they fail this, I would imagine if that happens, it would be with the Nvidia sell. If Nvidia sells on earnings, probably won't see this for a little while unless we see major profit taking. We'll see. We will see. Some of the swings coming off now. This is starting to get interesting to me. Netflix had news this morning. We're starting to get into these levels of interest. I'm waiting to see if we gap fill, remember. So we're starting to come into there now. So I'm waiting to see the day where I feel some bids trapping the sellers. Hood as well, trying to get going a little bit here, filling its gap. All right, so just see if we start to base above 82s. I'll think about adding back in. Trimmed a lot of that. That's pretty much it, folks. That is pretty much it. Not much more news to come this morning. We had CPI. It came in a little bit hot month over month, pretty much as expected, but it was a little bit hot, but I don't think that's, to me, it doesn't feel like you shouldn't have been prepared for that. I think the whole world knew CPI was going to come in hot, given what's going on in the world. All right, so you know what we're looking at. We can take this off. It's overnight range. All right, and we'll see if we can just lift up here this morning. These are the areas of interest for me. All right, in here. Hello. All right, something in here that gets sold, and if we reclaim this, something up here to get sold. Those are my first initial thoughts. I would love to see this second leg drive up, run all these stops out, put a bit of blow off in, and then come back down. But we'll see. We're going to have to keep an eye on what's going on elsewhere. All right, the chips will matter. If we go into a big profit-taking day on the chips, that will probably encourage weakness. We are going to have divergence. I guarantee you, probably going to see strength from what we've seen pre-market in the likes of Apple. So we'll see. INTC would be the same thing, mate. Like all of those names would be the same thing. Okay. They're all the same. They'll be coming off the highs. There you go, coming right off the highs, So same thing. You'd be watching for 25 fails, basically. All right. Here we go, folks. So 20 seconds, I'm going to have a sip of this coffee. Good luck, everyone. Ideally, we see a failure, some form of rejection, and then we'll go from there. It was likely to be very volatile at the bell, I'm warning you now. Here we go. So try to squeeze up, failure on that squeeze up straight away. Here's the sell. Let's see if there's continuation underneath this pivot or not, or if they're going to hold Globex. Straight back downside we go. Got nowhere near it. Another day. All right, let's see if they can pop up and sell here. Looking to sell pops if possible. I don't want to get short at the bottom here unless we start really breaking down underneath all of this. We'd like pops to sell. We're selling versus New York Open straight away. No attempt to get into this box yet. Very, very heavy tape. We need a pop here. This is very heavy tape. SOXL getting absolutely smacked. Schmackarooned. Right, filling some of these imbalances from pre-market. So let's see. Some sellers coming in here at 59s. We'll see if we can lift up from them. I'm not looking for longs, folks. I'm looking for sells, but I'm going to let this build out a bit because we're pretty thin. Very thin. Coming right down here. Here's the start of the lift. Okay, let's see them. Little imbalance up here. It's very, very volatile. SOXL finding a huge bid after washing. Here's the start of the bid into an imbalance. God, this tape's moving very quick. Watching that value area high from the current session, 179s, to see if they sell versus that now. Or if they squeeze right back up to that New York Open. God, this tape's moving fast, folks. Here comes the selling versus 179s. Sellers got stuck this morning under 55, so they're going to need to find acceptance under 55s. Here they go. Right, let's see if they're going to hold this bid or not down here. Can we get some volume on here so the folks can see? Trading View, can you wake up, please? There we go. Sellers are currently caught under 55s. Value area high for the New York session right now is 77. So if pops start to fail 77s, I'll get involved. If we hold above 77s, there's probably a squeeze up to the New York Open. Just given what I'm seeing on SOXL, that's a big failure and a hold. So I want to see how we act at 77s. Remember, we're very, very thin. This has been very, very aggressive. Here's the move back up towards 77s. This is important level here for a hold from the sellers or a base above and a squeeze all the way back up. Still no trade for me, by the way, folks. Just sat here waiting at the moment. Great recovery from SOXL. I think there's a sell coming soon. It's just whether they want to lift all the way back into this or we're going to sell around here. There's a 77s again. Tape's moving very quick. Got to let this settle down for me. Even for me to read Bookmap right now, it's moving very, very quick. 77s again. Still not involved in this yet. SOXL is right pre-market low, so I'm kind of watching that. So it's flushed right the way under, it's come right the way back to it, and it's just hovering there. I'm just waiting to see if it makes a decision here for a sell or not. Because if it doesn't, and it goes back inside pre-market range, this thing can come right back up here very quickly. The chips all find a bid. I'll give you a readout, by the way. Nvidia, 0.5% up. Apple, 0.10% up. Everyone else is red. All right, here you go. This is the 77 kind of range. They're starting to try and base here. They're trying to get that squeeze back out. Remember, sellers are caught under 160 right now. Because it's very sensitive. They're coming back down to test this 160. So if pops start to fail now versus that 77s, I'm interested. Or what is it now? 83s. So we're trading inside range right now where we're getting thick. Remember, if we break above this, it will rip faces. So still no pops failing, still being bid up here. SOXL right back inside pre-market range, right? Leaving this alone, still no trade for me at the open. Missed the morning flush, but we are starting to hold this range, and if they get back above this New York open print, they can come up here, which was what our original thought process was, to short up here. So we're watching this New York open print. Remember, we're thin above 85 now. Buyers will want to support 85 if they actually have intentions in going upside. We are very, very choppy here. I'm warning you now. Here's the move to 85. Do we flush back inside this range? Under the range now. Okay, I've got to look for a short here. Can we get involved now? Right to the bottom side to 160s. We are moving fast, folks. All right. Watching 85 for failures now. Watching 85 for failures now, given what we've just seen there. Still no trade for me. I'm being honest with you. I'm watching 85 for failures. We've got to be very careful of this big node we've just built out. But if we start to fail 85s, after that rejection at 200s, oh, come on. You've got to come up. Don't you dare. Remember, sellers got stuck down here. I really don't want to chase you down here, you mother clucker. It's such a cruel market sometimes when you're disciplined. Okay, well, now we need to watch 160 for failures. Jesus Christ. 160, 168, and 85s for failures. We are moving quick. Remember, sellers keep getting stuck under 160. All right. Still no failures. Let's watch 85 here then. Straight through 85 at the moment. This is the top of the range. All right, put a little piece on here versus 85. Very, very tight stop, because if we blow through it, we're going right back upside. Nice. I want to see us trade under 170 now, where that volume node is good. Stay heavy here, and then stay heavy under 60. Moved my stop slightly into the money now. Good. All right, let's see 70s fail. Don't want bids to come in here, which they're trying to do. I want to see 70s fail and this get a nice close under 160 here. They're bidding 160. Be very careful here. Tape slowed down a little bit. Come on. Come on, here we come. We need a close under 160. If you want to take some profit there, you can. I've locked a little bit in, trying to see if we can get a flush under this now. We need acceptance under 160, and then we can start really moving. Here we go. 60's big. All the sellers are caught under 60s, but we're positioned well. Just got to try and let it work. Oh, they're trying to catch a bid again. Gonna stop me out if they push much further. There we go. Out break even on that. Did pay myself a little bit into 60s. And we'll see if it resets here. If they flush this now after taking me out, because I moved my stop down a bit, it will be the Alex trade. We're inside the first 5-minute candle, yes, because we're only 8 minutes. But you know, we're trading footprint, not 5-minute bar. Trading what the buyers and sellers are doing. I'm not trading an imaginary 5-minute bar right now. All right, still rejecting 85. Clearly, they can't find acceptance over 85 right now. Sellers are stacking at 200s. Let me just have a quick look above that. 200, 220, 230, still there. SOXL's found a bid again. All right, leave this alone short side for a minute. SOXL's coming back to its VWAP here at 78s. You need SOXL to fail 78s to 79s. You need to see failures on there, because those are the chip names. So, like I said, leave this alone short side while the chips figure out what they're doing. Back up to this New York Open. I can show you what I'm talking about. Right, we have to be aware of this right now. I've talked about it a lot. Right, there's the breakdown. Now we're back inside pre-market range. There's VWAP, there's previous day low. All right, so this is a failed break right now. Reclaiming how we act here becomes important. If they want to set a squeeze, they will on the chips. That's why we have to be very patient. Remember, ideally, we wanted a short. If we think about reminding ourselves, ideally, we wanted a short here or here this morning. Right? It's only because liquidity has been built out differently that we're not taking that. This can still be a higher low, and they can drive out now. So I'm, like I said, not forcing versus it. Sellers are cooked. I wouldn't say so. Remember to zoom out. Most of the selling took place up here. We talked about it last night in Discord. 360 was going to be the level, and then at 260 exchange. That's exactly what we've had. The only sellers that are caught are these guys down here from 8:30 who traded the CPI news. Those are the only guys. All right, SOXL back inside previous day low. We're at this New York Open now. If they're going to hold this print and start squeezing, this grey boxing up here is where I'd want to be a seller. I'm staying sell side today. All the time we are heavy versus current week's value. All right, very simple. All the time we're heavy versus current week's value. Yeah, I'm so cooked as a seller. I'm up 20%. There you go. Yeah, I mean, if you sold versus those good levels overnight, you look good still. So coming into this grey box, remember these are key. Here's value for current week. This is where we originally wanted to short. Over 250, ideally, they take out the stops. If they really start sending it, remember, they can come up here. So I'm watching to see if failures start to happen in this grey box. There's a little imbalance here. They're getting very aggressive on this squeeze. Chips trying to find a bid. So we're into the start of this grey box. We pumped above 250 there. Here's a big rejection. I'm looking for the sell now. Huge rejection above 250. I'm in some of this now, down to this New York Open, covering some. Remember, 250 was the level, and we just rejected that hard. I'm short now versus VWAP. Again, I will take this off, the rest off break even. I just covered some into the lows there. Would prefer a sweep over 250, but we came there or thereabouts. Remember, the grey box is the area. There you go. Stop moving down a little bit. I'm just moving to 38 just to protect my break even, to pay for the trade basically, but paid myself again there. About to be taken out. There we go. Let's see if we can get above 250 now and then see what it does. Ideally, they sweep 250, right? Ideally, they sweep 250. If they want to take out, there is a bit of a flat top at 300. So, and that's our put ball one. If they get above 300, I would say they're going to go 350, 370 pretty quick. So just be aware of that. There is a squeeze above 300 all the way up here, which is why these are the two zones. I want to be short in here if there's failures and short in here if there's failures. I don't want to touch this level here. We're very thin. Big buyer coming in here. All right, big aggressive buyer coming in here now. SOXL's absolutely ripping faces here. No rejection of the 80s. Or was it 80s or 78s we said? I can't remember now. It was 79s. All right, back up to 80s. Pre-market high, SOXL was 83s. If they set this on, remember, they can come right the way up here. We talked about it in Discord. Hard to follow these trades. You shouldn't be following trades. You should be positioning based on the levels. You shouldn't be trying to follow what I'm doing. You should be positioning based on the levels that we talked about pre-market. All right, based on what you're seeing in the chart. You shouldn't be sat here trying to click with me. Like, I don't know why you've lost if you have, but there we go. That's where I'm at for the day. All right. Wish they would stop buying every little dip. I mean, we'll just have to see. We'll have to see. And like, they might want more. If they go for recovery of range, you know, this will be a look below and fail, and we can go right up to the upside like we talked about if they go recovery of range. At the moment, this looks pretty squeezy. It's a big drive. Next level is all the way up here, and it's very possible they do that move today. We are about to find out. Let me take some of these off the copier because they're up very, very nice. What can we take off? Take you off. $33. So above the 50s, big bid came in there at 65, above this grey box. So the bids came in at 55 and 66s. Previous week close, remember, was up at 29,330s. Opening range now set. And SOXL is coming back up towards its pre-market highs that we talked about. What copy do I have? Affordable indicators. So if they base above this, technically speaking, if they get above this, it can be a look below and fail. All right, if they get above this, and this would be the level that they're trying to trade into. This would be gap fill all the way up here. But if we start basing above this, right, and doing this, this will be a look below and fail of that range that we set from Friday. All right, so if we come up here and fail this, it'll be a huge failure. This grey box is very, very important now, this first grey box. And I would imagine fails are going to happen. They're going to happen in the next 30 minutes for this new 4-hour bar as we've squeezed up. What's my win rate? Again, my win rate is skewed, mate. I always say that very honestly. 68 to 73%. But it's skewed because you will see I take a lot of like break even. Here's the failures. All right, grey box important here, VWAP important here. Let me just start to zoom in on this. Right, 250 is going to be important whether they hold this value area high on the current session. It's the same level as earlier, right? Nothing's changed. That's a big wash and an instant absorption here. Tape still moving very, very, very fast. SOXL rejecting pre-market highs right now. ES rejecting New York Open. So relative weakness in the ES. Give you a readout on the mag. Tesla 0.73% down. Nvidia 1.63% up. Microsoft 1.19% down. Meta 0.25% down. Google 0.42% down. Amazon 1.5% down. Apple 0.09% up. All right. So this is all about the chips right now. I'm telling you. So no change there. If chips go into a sell, NQ starts to bleed. If chips maintain the reclaim, NQ will try and reclaim and stay up. Right. 250s. I'm watching 250s under over here. If we see this, because we've now trapped buyers above 279, 280s, here's the failure into VWAP. If they start losing this grey box, I'm going to be interested in the sell, and I'll start adding in if we start to really flush. Here we go. Starting to flush now into this New York Open. So I'm watching rejections of 240, 250 now because we've flushed under it. Big failures on SOXL on that pre-market high. So we're right into a pivot here. 240, 250 is going to matter here. And we lift a little bit and see them resell it and then go for low of day underneath the New York Open. Yep, there we go. Starting to sell into some of this now. Yep, they're selling heavy. I'm already in and I'm going to start to add if they keep this tape very, very heavy. A little wiggle here. Can we just pop up a little bit to 20 and 30s and see what you do after that wiggle? They're reselling 20s at the moment. They're reselling 20s more. We're going to flush here. Here we come. So I added a bit of 20s. I've covered some into that New York Open. They can lift to 50s if they want. Trying to see if this works out here. They're adding liquidity 30s and 50s for a little drive up to be sold into at the moment. Here they come. Didn't quite get to those 30s and 50s. It's a heavy tape right now. Chips under previous day low again. We're under that New York Open again. $50s is the level, grey box is the level, and then New York Open right here, and then a flush under that, and we trade low of day. So remember, we were looking for a pop above 50s and then failure, a pop above 50s and then failure. That's what we're starting to see. So we want to see it stay heavy versus these kind of levels now. So basically build out some form of right shoulder here. Build out some form of liquidity into here, and then you want to see it trade under this. All right, so you'd need to see this and then nothing more than that until we get under here, right? So 50s is important. ES trading back down to low of day. So this is all on the chips now. They are holding this market up. Everything else is in a sell. Low of day on ES, about to break down here. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Let it go. Let's get down to the 80s. Come on, chips. Let go. SOXL into a pivot. If it flushes here, would be good, but it's right into a pivot on SOXL here. It's very, very tight on these chip names. ES low of day. So remember, we talked about this at the open. We talked about it yesterday. We're going to see divergence because we're in a market being propped up by chips. Looking for this to break this little bear flag to get us down to 180s and below. They're trying to hold this up at 200 right now. Once that breaks, I think you get a flush down to 180s and 168. And then if we get under that, we'll break for low of day and then Globex lows and everything else. Here we go. Beautiful. This is what we're looking for. So moving down to 180s now. New low of day on ES, looking good. Fantastic. It's exactly what we wanted. This is the pre-market plan, isn't it? Beautiful. Get out my way. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. I want ES to stay heavy under 400. So 7/4s, ES keeps popping down, finding a bid, popping down, finding a bid. Once we flush that, I think you've got 95s. And is that previous day low or previous week low there? What's a U down here? Friday's low. Friday? No. Sunday's low. Right, so the Sunday gap will be 390 on ES. That's your Sunday gap. And once you break that, you break away. Looking good. We still look great here, folks. We are looking good. We want a little bit more. So we're covering some into this pivot, and once we get under that, we're going to stay heavy. This pivot here. Remember, 250s, we wanted to blow off over 250s and a failure. Here's your first cover points, and if we do this, we're looking to take out this low here, and then under sub 100, we're looking for this move here if we stay heavy. But it requires chips to stay heavy. Cannot repeat that enough for you today. I've got Simply Red in my head today. Found you on YouTube a couple of days ago. First time listening to you. Your detailed commentary is far better than live traders. Give value information to the trader. Oh, that's good. That was definitely not Lebanese accent. That was I was being precision German. The Germans. It's like something out of 40 Towers. All right, remember, 50s is still the level, or 45s really now. Ideally, they reject this up here. So I've paid myself some into these 80s like we talked about, and we'd like this to stay heavy. Again, this is all on SOXL. This is like, I cannot say it enough right now. I'm on the wrong screen. Get you over here. I cannot say this enough. I'm watching this on the side monitor, all right? This, like we said, it's into a pivot. It's very important here what happens next. We rejected pre-market highs, right, after sweeping the lows. We're midpoint of the range, right? What happens now is important. Do we start to see a sell day, right, in all these names, or are we going to see a gigantic squeeze, right? It's important. ES back to those 45 and 50s. ES, NQ back to the 45s and 50s. Come on. There we go. All right, so if we reclaim this, you want to cut it, all right? If we start to reclaim here, you want to cut your runners, which we're trying to do. So there's a little imbalance here at 50. I would say if we start base and reclaim, you want to be out. They are adding liquidity higher at the moment. I'm still holding a tiny little piece here because we have an imbalance at 50. So I'm just holding a little piece there. Refresh seller just came in up there. That's good. That's good. We want to get back inside value now, ideally. Doing a little bit of a dance here. Don't want them to rebid here at 25. That would be a bad look. Which they're doing at the moment. They're bidding all the way from 200 to 25. So let's see if Mr. Dip Buyer from the last few days comes back or if he's done. So here we go. We're going to retest these 25s. Here they come. Sellers coming in. They're trying to get a retest of 25s here, hoping that these dip buyers who are on the tape leave the tape. Here we go. There's the retest of 25s. Okay, so still a bid there. Sellers selling still pretty heavy here. There's a bid at 25s right now and a bid at 20s. Sellers coming in. We're going to should get a move a little bit deeper here. Here we go. Fantastic. Let's go. Okay, let's see if we can get some follow through now. Now those dips of 25 just got wrecked. Beautiful. So we want pops back up to be sold into right now versus 15 to 20 based on what I've just seen on the tape there. So if we can pop up, we would like that to stay heavy at 15 and 20s, which will basically be your New York Open. Okay, and then we should flush down underneath that. And we really want ES to move under 7,400. All right. SOXL starting to really plummet now, which is great. So into the low side now, underneath its pivot. And if we can make a new low of day here, it'll be great. So into the 80s here again. Let's see if we can flush right the way down. Here we come, folks. Still holding this original size. And I will add in if we start to stay heavy under low of day, but not beforehand. All right, there's your Globex low getting tagged. Remember, we want 25s to stay heavy now, 20s to 25s to stay heavy now. We're just traversing inside of this, but I think we are getting ready to get a monster wash. Big buyer coming in here, getting trapped, potentially. 116 lot at 88s. We can still get up to 220, 215 here. I'm looking for lower still. Still looking for lower. Here we go. Fantastic. SOXL coming down lower day. Into VPOC here. Let's see if we can start traversing underneath all of this. Remember, sellers got stuck at 160. So once we get under 160, those sellers become comfortable. And then we go 100. And then under 100, we start melting towards the 900s. All right, the 28 900s. Here we go. Beautiful. Let's see if we can start melting here. SOXL's low of day in the New York session can be coming down to pre-market lows. Remember, this is the area here. We'd like to see this really start to attack under here now and make a new low of day break. Here we go. This is the level. 160 matters because this is where sellers got trapped. If we get under here, we're going to see a low of day break and everyone can, you know what. Thank you very much. Dip buyers, you got wrecked. This is why we don't care about the first 5-minute candle, whatever anyone said there. We're watching the order flow here. Lower day coming up. Once we break that, we're looking for 100. And that would be a gigantic trade for us. Sub 100. Get on my fucking level. All right, baby. Here we go. Covered a chunk into lower day, and we will now see if we can break these lows down here, right? Put wall is at 2980s. If we break these lows down here, we're looking for the next box, which will be the 900s, right? Come on. Come on. Pops above. What was the plan? What was the plan pre-market? Pops above 250 for failures. Failing under 250, rotation to low of day. Failing under here, we look for this. Thanks very much. There's your trade. Right? There's your easy money. This will be the second trade or an add-on. Thank you very much. He doesn't tell me what to do. All you have to do is listen pre-market. Let's go, baby. Let's go. All right, coming into these lows, you can move your stop down now and be protective. Do not short in this grey box, for goodness sake. All right? You want to be covering some and waiting for a break underneath now. You do not get short in this grey box, all right? You do not get short down here. Really, you need sellers to defend 70 now, 170. But these are your cover points down here, right? And ideally, we melt under 100 and really just start cascading another 200 points down. Here we go. Can we get under the 100? Big sellers here. Ho, ho, ho. Get on my level. Get on my level. All right, big wash here, covering a little piece. Let's see if we stay heavy under the grey box now. Big seller came in there at 24s. We need to be very aware of him. He's a giant lot. 225 lot came in at 24s. We'd like to stay heavy under him. Otherwise, he can potentially get squeezed out. All right, this is a big kill candle on the 5 minute right now. If you look at this 5 minute bar, it's well over 100 points. I cannot get simply read out my head. And I love the thought of coming home to you, even when dip buyers get fucked. And I love the thought of getting paid from you, just silly dip buyers getting booed. All right, let's go. You should be paying yourself here, folks, in case you haven't worked that out. Yeah, Dubs in chat caught any of this with me. Yeah, Alex is good. Alex just absolutely nailed the you-know-what out of that. 2, 4, 5, 6, $6.5 grand up right now. Thanks very much. It's pretty good. Pretty good day. All right, you want 150s to 170s to stay heavy. All right, they start reclaiming that. That would be a look below and fail. You want to be done with it. All right, so all this volume now, you need all these buyers to become pop sellers. Anyone who's a buyer up here, they must become pop sellers for this move. If you reclaim this, all right, then you're going to go back in range. So you need to sell, or stay sell side. I'm not telling you to buy it for sure. I'm not telling you to do that. But ideally, this range here, right, gets sold into. If you reclaim that range and you are short from up here, you want to be done with it. Right, so you'd like this move here to be sold into, just like we had here. You'd like this move here to be sold into. All right, if they reclaim this range after tagging this, you want to be done with it. All right, do not overstay your welcome here. But ideally, I would like to see us move lower, but we're going to see, aren't we? We have to remain heavy up there. Here's the retest coming. So 50 to 70 retest is coming here. Remember, if they reclaim this, we go back inside range for the day. And SOXL made a new low and is coming right back up. It can find a pivot here at 76.50s all the way up to 77.78. So chips are trying to find a bid. So VPOC here. If we reclaim this, we go screaming higher. All right, so get ready to take this off if we start reclaiming 170s here on your runners, if you haven't taken it off already. But that's why grey box was important. Nice rejection of VPOC so far. While we're doing all this, I should remind you guys before I get told off. All right, Funded Next have a new product, Flex product. This is a great rejection. Still in this now. Let's go. Still in this. Can we make a new low here, please? Funded Next just released Flex accounts, cheapest accounts available in the industry. No consistency rule in Funded. Let's go. Right, this is where the buyers came in at 109. So if we flush 109s, we make a new low here. So I'm just trying to manage this last one I've got on. So if you added back in there at 50s to 70s, looks good, doesn't it? Here's the 9s. This is matters now. This is where the buyer came in. If we get under him, we're going to make a new low. Get under him and make a new low. Come on. I want more. I'm greedy. I want more, 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 more. More, 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 more. Let's use this buyer's pain here at 109s. Please. Please. Watching 109s. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Woo! 50s to 70s, baby. All right, let's go. Watching this put wall. Ideally, we puke all the way down to here now. That is a great rejection on SOXL into 76s that we talked about. And I love the thought of coming home to you. Making money from these stupid dip buyers, because they don't realize the volume isn't on their side. They just blindly buy. I don't know what the word would be. All right, seeing a bit of exhaustion from sellers there. as we came into this put wall, unsurprisingly. Unsurprisingly, we'll see. There's still a chance for it to move lower, but we're starting to see a little bit of exhaustion from sellers. I would love to see this break lower still for the runner, but there's definitely a sign of exhaustion down here. If we break under this, this is where I'd love to come to today. This is where I think we can come to, but we might need to build out some liquidity for a bit because we've done a pretty big move here this morning. Yeah, I'm taking this off. I'm out of this now. That'll do for me for a minute. I don't mind adding back in once we build out some liquidity for a bit. But you can see there's a little bit of exhaustion at those lows. They need to build some liquidity out before they break lower. If they're going to like do that opening range break lower, remember we've tagged the put wall. That's your main put wall there. Break under that. These line up pretty well with our zones. And this would take us back to that pivot from Thursday, right? The Thursday breakout, that is down here. If we think about the RBS zones. What should we do? 15 minute. All right, that would take us all the way back down into here. We're very thin under this. You can see we have a node here. We're very thin under this. So this leads to this. And then in here and in here, I'd imagine somewhere in these two, buyers will really step back in. But I'm done with this for now. We just wait and let it build out. Yeah, what was I saying? Funded next. Okay, so they've just launched flex accounts. And they are super cheap. I'll give you the rules though, because they are not, they are slightly different. So a 50k flex account one-time fee of $69 right now, using code FZT, which is 47% off. You can get 90%, keep 90%, no daily loss, end of day trading drawdown, no consistency rules on funded, one-time fee, no monthly, no activation fee. All right, so super cheap. So those of you who are looking to spend cheap. What I would say is there's only $1,500 in drawdown. So you need to be aware of that. And it's 47% off for launch using code FCT. I posted it all on my on the community tab, so you can check it out there. Also, as we said, one of my favorite prop firms, Take Profit Trader, code flow zone over there, 50% off. Reset prices go up in a week, so you've got until Sunday to get those. Yeah, that was funded next. Great read on the market. Huge W. Thank you, Alex. 1K away to get funded. Nice. Just take your time now. Don't force it now. If you're that close to getting funded, nice and easy. All right, so we're going to come back up to this VPOC at 160 to 170. This is why we're covered down here. Like I said, there was exhaustion down there. They need to build out some liquidity now if they're going to move lower. It's very possible that that's the move done for the day. They can pin it in and hold here. Remember, we swept overnight. We are holding the put wall. We're back inside of value. This level here matters, right? That was our opening sell. That's our orb. All right, this level here matters for continuation. I'd like to see them just build out some liquidity here for a while, maybe a little pop above, and then we can think about this later in the day, ideally. Remember, we've had a huge move, 250. We almost got 200 points out of that, folks, right? Don't be expecting more and more and more in one straight move. That is a big move. What was it? Lewis Hamilton. Why? Box to box. What do we do? Box to box. Look how good the box was. Pop over, fail. Remember, these were drawn out pre-market down to here. Box to box. Alex, I purchased Lucid Flex 50k last night. Thanks to your analysis, just made 500 for the day. Nice. All right, you're still just seeing this like traverse around here. Big rejection on ES at those 7,400s that we talked about. Still a chance for this to move lower. I don't really want to get involved right now. I would like to see it just build out for a little bit. Would like to see it build out for a little bit. Everything's lining up well. I've just got to check my swings because I did put a quadruple leveraged short position on the chips last night. And you might think I'm a psychopath, but I'm up very, very nice right now. I did announce it in Discord for you guys. So I am in a quad leveraged short position right now, and I'm up pretty good. If you're wondering what I'm in this from last night at the close. All right, so this is the opposite to SOXL. I'm actually in the quad, not the triple. That's the triple. I'm in the quad. So it requires quite a lot of my margin, so I've got to be a little bit careful with it. All right, still just seeing this build out here. We would actually like this to move a little bit higher at this point and trap some more bulls in and then break lower once they're done with it. That would be ideal. If you're still managing your position here, like, I'd be very careful because we're starting to hold value area low. Alex, any comments, thought on the 8:30 100-point candle today? Repeat of Friday. I mean, if it was the 8:30 candle, it was a CPI candle. It's going to be thin. It's going to move on news. That would be my only thought on it. There's nothing else to say. You're going to play an 8:30 print. That's what you're going to get pre-market. It doesn't matter what the news is. It's always going to be a thin, fast move. Got to understand what news is breaking at that time. What's the ticker for the chips? SOX are your chips, and then SOXL is long. SOXS is the short side of it. Can we go to 27K? Samsung don't have the deal with Nvidia. Will not have the memories anymore. 27K. 27K is 2,000 points away. I mean, yes, but like, it's going to take time to get down there. That would be a mean reversion. 27,650. I mean, look, you've got to understand your sort of points in the road, right? Right, we don't just move down because of Nvidia and Samsung, right? Everything matters. So can we come down to 27K? The answer is yes. Can we come down to all the way down here? The answer is yes. Like, of course we can, right? We can think about some form of mean reversion, right? Which would take us towards these zones. But like, we can also, you know, it might just be a walk down, and they can also find a bid and come all the way back up. We don't know. It might be just a little flush and a rebid, right? At the moment, top bold to 5-day. What's our highly probable move that Alex teaches you all the time? Top bold to 5-day, right? If 5-day starts rolling over, right, and we leave like an island high up here, can we get to 20-day? Absolutely, of course we can. But like, let's think about that when it happens, right? Let's think about that when it happens. Because if you try and say, oh, we've got to come down here, we don't have to do anything. So remember, we're day traders, one trade at a time, one moment at a time. On a weekly, you know, we'd have to get under the current week to get anywhere close. Previous week, right, we had this previous week is a huge bar. We could just retrace 50% and start to find a bid at 850s at the moment. So just one trade at a time, yeah. Okay, this is good. Starting to see the lift that I wanted to see now. All right, going back into range for the day. That's why I said I would be done with this right now if you were still trying to hold short. You see, we wicked underneath. Here's a move back to VWAP. It's a good push from the market here. Apple again, relative strength, and we said that would happen today, didn't we? It wants the 300s, and it doesn't have the same exposure to chips that everyone else does. Now, if we start poking up here and then failing and coming back down, making like a micro head and shoulders, all right, if we do something like this, then I'm going to be interested in that breakaway move later in the day once I see enough bulls trapped in up here, right? That's what I'd need to see. If we don't see that and they come all the way back up, you can't rule this out later in the day again. Remember, we've had our move. That was the move we were looking for. Now we wait, patiently wait. And it might be that you've made enough money to think, hey, I don't want to trade anymore today. That's also good trading, right? Trade the opportunity. If you're at a stage in your career where you're like, I lock in my money, I get out, get off the stream or sit here and trade sim or something. How many points do I use for a base position when I open a trade? There's no such thing. You have to be watching the ATR on your pivots. There's no such thing as like a base position for me, or a fixed stop or a fixed P&L. I don't work like that. I work by swing points, trap players, and liquidity, right? I play what's in front of me. If I used a fixed position of 20 points, I would get absolutely wrecked in this market, wouldn't I? Right? People that do that, I'm playing for 9 tick win and I'm risking 20. Shut the fuck up. I don't understand people that teach that. It makes no sense. You can only trade by who's actually in the market. I hate it when I see not newer traders trading that way. It's not their fault. I hate it when I see people teaching that, because I'm just like, why would the market care about your 20 points? It doesn't care about your 20 points. It cares about where everyone's stops are, where liquidity is. Holy moly, piggy trades. Thanks again, brother. I had a killer day. 10 minis. You know I'm up big, man. Hey. Very kind. High five, man. Nice work. 10 minis. 10 minis where? On the failure of 250 all the way down. 10 minis for 200 odd points. Woohoo! Nice work, buddy. Nice work. Thank you very much for that gift. That's very kind of you. Do I have a video of how to draw my grey boxes? I know their volume, but I can't seem to duplicate them. I don't know if I do have a specific video on it. Probably in the courses, in the mentorship, for sure there's be stuff there. I do mine like on high volume. Sometimes I put like a low volume to high volume. Like this one is on the edge. If you think about what this is, we zoom out of this current week. Right, you can see it's actually a low volume where we had the current week value area low. So it's actually a low volume node that I'd want to see us protect. This is the same, really. It's a low volume node here, but it was a high volume node here on this day. So they're often like overlapping levels of interest for me. Best way I can put it. Okay, rejecting the New York Open right now. Starting to get in between these two VWAPs. This is the usual dance we've had the last few weeks. In between the VWAPs, 24-hour New York VWAP. We go from high of day to low of day. We've probably pulled back well over 50% now. Yeah. And there is liquidity above still. So we'd look to see if they start to fail up here, which will be a first indication of trapping buyers up here for maybe a breakaway lower later in the day, but it's going to require some failures up here. We are seeing liquidity still being added over 200 to 225 at the moment, but let's see. Starting to see this starting to take place now. This is what we want to see. So if we start moving aggressively lower and losing the bid, I will think about a second trade here now, because we've now trapped sufficient liquidity on the drive up. This is what we don't ever want to get short down here, right? The short is the breakaway from here, leaving these buyers trapped, and we break lower. We don't get short here. We wait for buyers to get trapped somewhere up here, and we want to see this move here, just like this, and we can think about a breakaway lower. Beautiful. All right, this is why I said be patient now. Let them come and trap everyone. VPOC now is 160. They can keep absorbing this. I'm not interested yet. I just let it develop, let it develop, let it develop, let it trap, let it develop, let it trap, and then when it's ready, we will attack. Been with you since February and haven't made much more than $100. I've struggled with fear, but this month I'm finally doing better. Thank you, Alex. Hey, that's great, man. I mean, that's not that long if you think about it. February, March, April, we're only into May. You've been 3 months. 3 months at it with me. Slowly, 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 slowly. And it's good discipline to just $100, $100, $100. And in time, you will either size up or you will hold those positions longer for liquidity. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Long or short, bro, nothing right now. We're traversing in here. Like I said, I will think about the short if I see us move back down here, having trap buyers up here, and I'll think about this. I'm not going to do it before then, right? If we're going to just traverse this all day, I'm not going to trade it anymore. The easy position was what we looked for here. That was the easy money. I will look for the easy money again if we trap buyers up here and come down and get stuck. Not beforehand. And if they want to base above, if they get basing above this, you want to be very careful that this whole thing doesn't become a look below and fail. All right, if we think about this, and Friday as well, same level. If we start reclaiming this, big if if we start reclaiming and holding this, this will become trapped sell side liquidity. And this will be like, if you think about your Wyckoff, fail break, spring, this will become the spring if we reclaim up here. Right, so I'm short side all the time. We're underneath sort of 300s. If we start to base above, this will become the Wyckoff spring, higher time frame. We can move back up again. I will only think about longs if I see that take place. I'm not thinking about it until that point. Because the main move right now is lower. Right, value area high now tacked, 225s. ES still between those two VWAPs. SOXL back inside its pre-market range, lower side of it, but it's there or thereabouts. And this has got some decisions to make. We just came into previous day low, which is this green line, which is now value area high. This is, if I was long, I'd be starting to exit a good chunk of my position here. So let's see if they do the same. Meta red to green. Just having a look across some of the names. Netflix finding a bit of a bid today. IREN holding its bid. IONQ holding its bid. OSCR, man, that thing, that's the one that got away from me. I was looking for dips all of last year and this year on OSCR. I missed the move and it's just will not pull back ever since that move. It's just flying away right now. All right, we're rejecting previous day low here. This is a really, really good sign. Is there a way to think about getting involved in this if they're going to fail? Huge move on ES as well. VWAP to VWAP. So value area high rejection, previous day low rejection, VWAP rejection here. If we start to fail to make new highs and trap buyers up here, we can think about that return back down to 125. So if pops start to fail up here and we see buyers get trapped, we can think about it, not before then. It's going to be much easier if we break lower and leave all this volume caught. Sensitive areas here for sure. There's a refresh seller keeps coming on the tape today at 205 to 220. It's quite a few times today I've seen him up here. Just refresh selling. There we go. He's not running down. He's slowly adding more size at 210s, 220, 225 at the moment. You need to see a fail to move higher here if you're thinking about a reshort. Getting choppy around this. Remember, you're midpoint of this IB right now. My bias would be short all the time we're under this grey box, basically. That's why I'm not looking for longs. You need a pop here. You need a pop up to fail. You don't want to chase this lower because every little chase down is getting absorbed at the moment. It might break lower, but you need a pop to fail to just know that the sellers are in control. Have we got someone? Have we got a hater in chat? We got someone hating. Who's talking shit? Man, if you've joined late and you don't know what to do, that's on you, mate. I get the exact levels and everything I was looking at. Get out of it if you're going to talk nonsense. All right, into this key pivot here of 175. I really want to see this lift up towards 200, 215, 212 and see if there's a passive seller willing to get this breakdown here because we're starting to make this sort of micro head and shoulders a bit higher. So what I would like to see at the moment is a little lift up with a passive seller sat here, rotate this down. I don't want to chase this breakdown here. And then once we get down here, if we get stuck here, we can look for this break lower if they're willing to do it. but I want to see this lift, a passive seller, step in and hammer it down. I don't want to chase the breakdown here, midpoint of the range. They might not give me a chance. Lift, 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 lift. Here we go. All right, this is what we want to see. All right, now we want to see in this lift up here towards 200s. 200s to 215s, 220s, if there's a passive seller on the tape who's really to just like force downside pressure against buyers like that. Perfect. All right, so I'm in now. That was enough for me to get in. Oh, but he didn't tell me. I did. Okay, so let's see if we can break now. This is beautiful. Into VPOC. That was exactly what we talked about. All right, beautiful. Right, 150s psychological level, 160s VPOC. If we start breaking below 126s, then I think we see a new lower day. Yes, it's just analysis, other than me telling you exactly what to do and me making this kind of money. But yes, it's bonkers. You lot are bonkers. You want to see the actual arrows on the screen. Beautiful. Okay, so remember, 25 break, I think we see a new lower day. That's the edge right now. So value area low, we've gone value area high to value area low. If we get a 25 break, I think we see a new lower day. But you're now well positioned for this short because we were looking for that pop back up, which we got. We saw the passive seller up there, didn't we? Because we got the reaction. We're covering some down here, and then we'll see if we're willing to break away now or not. SOXL new low of day, by the way. So what happens now becomes important. We would like to see this stay heavy 60 to 80. If we stay heavy 60 to 80, then sellers really are starting to take control, and I think we'll get a new low of day break. But that's the level now, okay? Beautiful. Can we break lower? Can we break lower for our runners? Can we get under those sort of 25s? Under 25s really starts to open up low of day, and then we can think about the 900s, honestly, if we start to break low of day. Come on. Okay, it's just analysis. Yes, it's very accurate. Tape reading analysis while it happens. Right, here we come into 25s. Let's see if we can break under this now. No thank yous. Oh, he just does this. It's not enough for me. It's not enough for me to tell me exactly what to do. I need him to do it for me. Do it for me, please, sir. Please, sir, do it for me. All right, here we go. Please, sir. Please. Please, sir, do it for me. Here we come. All right, under 25s, new low day. Oh, who'd have guessed? Who'd have guessed? Who'd have guessed? This guy. All right. Oh, my God. Here we go, folks. Can we get a lower day break? So we want to stay heavy versus 25s. We're looking for lower day break, and then we're going to try and trade down to 900s. There's your put wall. Who'd have guessed? Oh my God. What did he say he wanted to see? A lift from here, a sort of micro head and shoulders. Here, what did he say? Don't chase it. We want to see a pop and a passive seller. Oh, what do we have there? Then what do we have? The break. Then what did he say would happen? Under 25, new low of day. Oh my God, there's your put wall. And this is a cover point. And if we flush this, we're coming next grey box. It was planned there for you. Just use your ears. All you have to do is use your ears. It's really not that hard. Who'd have guessed? Buyers are trying desperately to hold this up here, and they will become the liquidity that gets absolutely deep-throated if they cannot hold this up, because they have come in very aggressive here, and they might get absolutely throttled. Here we come. Here comes the throttling. Goodbye, buyers. Goodbye. Sayonara. Oh my god. All right, imbalances here. Moving my stop down now. Through all these buy-side imbalances, I'm looking for 900s here, ideally now. Paid myself a little bit more. And we're looking for this grey box, ideally. Good moves today. Yeah, do you know why? Because it's the first time we've had volume stuck. Yeah, it's the first time we've had volume stuck. And I love the thought of coming home to you. And I love the thought of coming home to you. It's a little ray of light shining through. All right, let's see if we get 900. Here we come, 29,000. 29,000, whole number coming up, 29,000, whole number coming up, and if we get the 29,000 break, we're going to look for 28,900. Oh, here we go. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's just he doesn't tell me what to do. There you go. There is a fucking monster again. You must be up about over 400 points for me today. I don't want to hear any bullshit in chat, please. No, I'm telling you, no one. This isn't me talking myself up. No one is giving you this stuff. Do you know why? Because it's edge. This is how you trade. This is free education while you make money with me. This is not nonsense. Oh, I'm trying a short here and I'm trying a long hit. No, this is market reading in real time. This is how you can learn. I'm teaching you to fish. I'm teaching you to fish while you make money. All right, you need, all right, IB to stay heavy here. Initial balance is now printed. If they trade back inside of 80, they're going to run this straight back up to 115. Remember, I said dip buyers at 85, we're going to get deep-throated. That's exactly what happened, all right? So 85 is your level. They kept trying to hold and hold and hold and hold here. They have failed miserably. 85 is the level. You need 85s to stay heavy. How come every time I listen to you, I win, but when I don't, I lose? Well, I don't know, my friend. If you fight me on the tape, if you fight me, this is the truth of it, right? If you're fighting what I'm saying, then you're fighting what the tape's saying, right? So sometimes I'll get myself caught, but all I'm doing is reading action live, right? So I'm reading action live. So if you're fighting against me, you're probably fighting the tape. These dip buys are going to get absolutely murdered here. Here we go, 29,000 coming up. There's 116 lot dangling at 29,000. So we got a nice cover point here into 29K. And then if we flush that, like we said, we want to get 900s. Oh my God, 29,000 here. Can we get the 900s? Very kind of you. Someone joining the membership there for 4 months. Good work. All right, here's the 29,000. So it's a good cover point here. Like we said, there's 112 lots sat here at 29,000. Paid myself a good chunk of change here. And we're just going to see now if we can drift down. Soxel, yeah, I mean, what do you think Soxel's doing? Have a guess what Soxel's doing. Melting. So 165, Soxel is a pivot. If they lose 165, we're going 150, all right? What was the thought process? All right, there's the melt. All right, 165 is a gamma level. If we lose this, we come into this old gap, 150. All right, if they lose that, guess I'm not being funny, folks. All right, I'm not being funny here, but I called it yesterday. All right, I could smell a rat yesterday. There's a rat in the kitchen. What am I gonna do? All right, here's the rat in the kitchen. I kind of gave you a hint at it yesterday. Where are we? All right, I did try to give you a little bit of a hint right here. Slaughterhouse on greed and fear is setting up. And then I said, ES, NQ, oh, that should be SOXL, GC, CL, UNG, Dixie, VIX, all green. That was my hint to you. We're close. We're close. All right. And we planned this out. This was planned. This was planned in the newsletter, which you got on Saturday, wasn't it? This was planned in the newsletter, which you got on Saturday. If you missed the newsletter, it was planned yesterday. All right. Here is the plan yesterday. If we leave this, if we vacate this level, we come down into these levels, right? So we've now flushed this. We're now moving towards here. All right. We're under 29,000. We're moving towards 900. This was repeated again this morning. This is last night. This is for Globex. Same plan tomorrow for Globex. All right. Here's what we're seeing. This move here is what we're now seeing. And then we repeated this same thing this morning. Look at this. What am I looking for? A drive up to be sold into. All right. A drive up. Look at this. I don't know if you guys can even see that. Ideally, I love a move over 250 to take stops out and then see if buyers get caught up there for the trade back down. 5:55 a.m. 5:55 a.m. we give that. All right. That's half an hour or 35 minutes before market open. Over 250 and then a failure. That's what you're seeing. All right. So you're runners only now. Your job's done. You've made your money. Don't oversize. Don't chase. Don't do anything stupid. Be happy with what you've made. You know, if you're a religious type, glory to God. Otherwise, you know, higher consciousness, whatever you want to do, be grateful that you are learning a skill that can set you free. All right. Time is freedom. Money provides time. It's not money that provides freedom. It's time. Money provides time. Time provides freedom. You can have more time with your friends and family and everyone else. That's the job. Just passed 3 accounts from that one trade. Nice, man. Done for the day. Thanks for the free tips daily, my king. You're welcome. You're welcome. Bro, it's like you're in my head. I was about to go for another trade. No, no more. No more. You manage your current position or you leave alone, all right? The only thing you could wait for now is them to lift up to here. But remember, we need to be careful up here. Remember where the buyers got very aggressive was 85, right? So if they reclaim 80, 85, they squeeze back inside. We've done the main job, right? 29,000. If we got really lucky, we'll come down here, right? But I'm not going to add any more here. This is your IB down here. It's right here, 80 to 85. Why am I saying that? If I bring this pivot over, look at this buyer, all right? He got very aggressive here, buying this dip at 85. Remember here is where I said they're going to get deep-throated, all right? That's what I was saying. This guy was being stupid. This was a guy being like, please, 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 fuck. Yeah? So 85's the level. We reclaim 85. It's a clue to leave alone for the day now. We've done the easy move. We're just over an hour in and you've made over 400 points with me. Well over 400 points. Let's think about what we've got here. We were short from here. We covered into this box. So you got like 150 odd points here. And then we were short from the turnaround here, from this pop. I think it was this one right here. Right. And you caught this down to here. Yeah. So just shy of what? I don't know. Almost 400 points. 350 points, let's call it. Alex, you've changed my trading strategy for the better, making more consistent past an account today. Thank you, bro. You're welcome, man. You're welcome. How much he just lost? Who just lost? Alex, tell me how much he bought and how much he sold. The solo buyer. Oh, 84s. Give me a second. Where's 84? I can't see it. Can't see him. Can't see him. He's 119 lot at 84, 130 lot at 81, and a 338 lot buyer stuck at 100. You're talking about many millions, many millions. But like we're back inside of his level right now at 85, right? So we're inside the initial balance. You can't see the IB because it's right on this put line. So if, a big if, right? if they get back inside of this, if they hold the IB now and get back inside of that, that's your VWAP trade. But this is the area. If I was a seller and if I was a market maker and I wanted this has to stay heavy, right? Reclaim of this gives strength to bulls. That is your leave alone. You do not want to trade in this today. You want this grey box to stay heavy for this move. You do not want to trade in here today. I would be very wary about being a buyer today. This is not a day to buy, right? You've had, I don't know how many days, 30 million days, 38 days or something to buy, all right? These are your buying days. All right, here's your buying days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, inside bar, 14, outside bar, 15, inside, and 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah, 22 days of buying, right? This is your first red day off the top Bollinger Band, like we talk about all the time, right? This was a highly probable move. I thought we might do it yesterday. We did it today. This is beautiful, right? This is not a day to try and be a dip buyer. Just allow it, bruv, yeah? Allow it, innit? Allow it. Let it come down, innit? And then when them shorts is trapped at the lows, innit? Then, like, maybe in, like, Wednesday, Thursday, innit, bruv? If it, like, chills out, then you can be, like, maybe dip buy on their pain. But until then, we is in sell, innit? Yeah, we is in sell. We is in sell versus here, innit? Remember? Innit? These buyers is stuck in it. We as in sell, so we don't want to be buyer in it. We want to sell versus pain in here. In it does this, bruv. Then we're buyer here, in it back to here, bruv. Ting. Get what I mean? Yeah. That's how real trader play. We ain't doing no hanky panky, hanky panky. Bullshit stuff, right? We're not guessing bottoms. Bruv ting. Unicorn, bruv. We ain't doing no unicorn, bruv, innit? Big man ting, bruv. Yeah? Right? Just allow it, innit? Allow it. Let it calm, man. Let it calm. If you guys from America are like watching this, you'd be like, what is he on about? That's like, it's how the youth taught in the UK, innit? Calm, man. Calm. Calm, brother. Big Reddit open. I started listening to you. Green on the day. Thank you. That was a beautiful unicorn trade. Joking. Nice work. Nice work, Alex. Nice work. All right. Reclaiming 85. They've got a chance for a counter trend lift here. I would not be a buyer today, but if they want to lift, they want to lift. Like we talked about, SOXL came right into that 165. I'm going to pay myself. I probably should have got to watch this swing. Give me a second, folks. I've got to get my swing account up. Where's it gone? Because I need to pay myself a little bit of money on that short. Looking good. Right, paying myself a little bit on SOXS just in case we hold that 65. And I did call it here yesterday for you guys in case you missed it. There we go. All right. We look good. We look good in the swings. They all look very, very healthy right now. All right, still sort of stuck around here again. I would just be done with this. This is a bit like this moment here earlier. All right, we don't short here. You let it come and trap, and then we see this pop, and then we sell. Right, you don't short here. You let it come and trap. If you're absolute adamant and you haven't made enough, you need it to move lower under all of this. But I'm basically done. I'm basically done. All right, it would have to really entice me now. They kidnapped my liquidity. Man, that song was amazing. That's the best song ever. Alex, how long is your stay in Discord after you leave the YouTube live? It all depends what's setting up. Normally I pop in there for a bit. I try and go to the gym and get fresh air as soon as I'm done, unless something sets up straight away. I mean, I'd say the last couple of weeks, it feels like stuff sets up the moment I finish YouTube. All right, we're still rejecting grey. Let's see if they stay heavy under 80. I don't think I'm going to take another trade. I'll be honest with you. I think I'm happy with where we're at right now, and I'm due another payout tonight. I think on Lucid. Yes, green yesterday, green today. Yeah, another payout tonight on Lucid. Payout number 3. Let me read your comments. Hang on, folks. Also, smash that like button. We'll do giveaways. We didn't do a giveaway yesterday because we didn't get enough likes. But today you've had, what, 400 points? We have 700 likes for 400 points. Well over, I don't know, 1,500 of you have not hit that like button. How rude. How rude. Can we speak to the actual execution of the trade after waiting for the A+ setup? Specifically, how to approach the entry for a quick profit off the table, more for a TP1 and runner. How to approach the trade? Well, 250 was the level. We gave it pre-market. Right, that's the level. Yeah. Why? I wanted to see the stops run. If you remember, I said I'd like to see the stops run. All right, so if you were a short seller here, right, if you're a short seller here, you got this money, but then you got stopped out, right? When these guys get stopped out, they become what? Market buyers. And some people get very aggressive here. You get breakout buyers, right? Which means we have a lot of buying in here. And it's all market. It's all aggressive because stops and breakout buyers will be aggressive. So what do we want to see? We want to see a passive seller on the tape in here forcing price lower. This is where we wait. All right, what is that? What is this? All right, this, let's go for 250s. 250s. What is all this? Green, 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 and this. All right, very aggressive buying. This one here especially, look at the delta. Do we move higher? No. Huge buying, and then we do what? Collapse. Okay, so when we start breaking this and 250, what's happened? We've left all these aggressive buyers stuck at the highs. What do you see here? Delta shift negative. Okay, so where are we entering? Next failure of 250. Next failure to reclaim. Think about all these buyers are now stuck. What is this? Hello, Mr. 250. What happens? Failure. All right. Short, adding, breakdown. There you go. Very, very simple. It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same the next break we get. Once we had this breakdown here, I said, let it build out the liquidity. Where were those buyers last stuck? Here. Here. VWAP. What do we get? 2 leg. I'd argue even 3 leg really here on a base. All right. Here, I said to you, I don't want to short the breakdown. I want to see a pop up and a passive seller shut the door on their face, right? Because what I'm looking for is a fail to break higher. Think about this pattern. What we're looking for here, we zoomed this in, is this, yeah? In this part here, I want to see a passive seller say no. No, 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 no. We're only going down from here. Okay. So what do we see? Here's the big aggressive buying. Here's the big aggressive buying. Are we able to move higher? No. What does that mean? Passive seller. Okay. Entry, breakdown, add, wash. It's exactly the same. It's the same every single time. All right. It's every single time. If you wanted to see that on the tape, okay, if we look at the execution here, we're going to look at 950 and 1020 something on Bookmap. I can show you on Bookmap. All right, 950 and 1020 on Bookmap. Here comes your free edge, as always. 950 and 1020, because I've got to remember this. 950 and 1020, 950, 950, 950. Here we go. Okay. So At the high, what do we have? Oh, hello. Oh, hello, silly aggressive people buying above 250. All right. 200 lot, 372 lot, hundreds more up here. All right. Scattered around. Okay. Here's the pivot. You can see sellers try a couple times. All right. Here's the pivot. All right. Once we break down under this 270, we see a wash. This is stops getting run. All right. And they tried and reclaim, they fail. Okay. Boom. There's the cascade. All right. So we have to wait. I don't want to chase. So we wait for the drive back in. 950 for the drive back into where? Where did we just break down from? Where are these big lots? Make sure you can see this. Look at the size of that. That's a 372 lot buyer. That's a 209 lot buyer. That's a 100 lot buyer. That's a 100 lot buyer. So we're watching the pivots into there. We're watching, assuming that if we're correct, 250 will fail and we will leave everyone at 250 and above stuck. There's the drive up. There's 250. What do we see? Aggressive buying, aggressive buying, aggressive buying, aggressive buying. Do they move higher? No. What's all this horizontal action? Passive seller. Where's the passive seller? 250. 250. Then what happens? Little wiggle. You won't see this on a chart. Sell, push, sell, break, boom, wash. Then what do you get? Lower high. Same story, right? Here's your pivot. Push. Where did that buyer last try? Same level. 10, 10. Look at this. 223 lot. Same thing. Boom, wash. Pops are now getting sold. Look, pops sold. Pops sold. Pop sold. The next point I said to wait for was between 10 and 10.21 we had to wait. So I said down here, do not be a seller now at these lows, right? Because we've ran all the stops and now we have to wait for them to build the liquidity out, all right? So we're going to wait between 10 and 10.20. Can we zoom this down? Bookmap's going to be a pain. Thank you, darling. I don't know why, but Matt won't shrink this in now. There we go. All right, here, all right, is the legs. 1, 2, that's the third attempt. Look at the high up here again. Think about where we've just trapped into. Where did we last break down from? This is where the buyers last tried on the leg and got stuck. Think about if you're a buyer between sort of 200 and 220, 250, if this gives you a chance to get out because you know you're wrong, what are you going to do? You're going to get out. If you've got any common sense, you're going to get out, all right? If it's giving you a break even, you're going to get out. Look at this aggression. These absolute morons, all right? Oh, we're going back up to high. We're going back up to high. We're going back. What's this? Passive selling, all right? These horizontal levels, passive selling. Look at this guy at the top, Mr. 175 lot, Mr. 86 lot, all right? That was your first transition. What did we say? We came down, I said, we got to wait for a pop to be sold into. There you go. Pop, 109 lot. They just said, fuck you, you're done. There's the break. I was short here, adding in, pops get sold. All right, look at the aggression. Come down to the lows, we're done, right? Like I said, we're a bit exhausted down here because what? We've got a passive buyer. We've got someone willing to hold the print down here. So we don't short the lows, all right? We don't short the lows. Now this is the same kind of pattern here. 2-leg, exhaustion. You could have, I guess, played the backside here at 85s. Like we said, there's a big buyer who tempted to hold price up here. Here he is at 85s. This is the guy I told you when I said 8. He's going to get deep throated, right? This is why I said it. 113, 17, 211. The moment he broke, we had 300 lot sell side. Boom, right? That's your pivot. As we came into him, he probably tried to get out. Can we break lower? Yeah, we got a chance. But is the edge there now? No. The edge was at 250 fails. Yeah, we're 300 points lower. The edge is gone. Yeah, the edge is gone. So we've used the best moves in the market. It doesn't mean we can't. Like I still think we can move down to the 900s, but the edge has gone. Why do we need to keep sitting here trying to aggressively trade a tape when it's given us? It's provided our opportunities for us. Yeah. It's provided the opportunities for us. Our job as traders is to see the opportunities, pounce on those opportunities, make our money, leave it alone, let everyone else do all the nonsense, build the liquidity, build liquidity, build the liquidity. We'll take the opportunity. Yeah? You could argue there's an opportunity here versus 85, right? Because this is the level Remember this guy here who got stuck, right? This here is your over under right now. These guys here got stuck. They tried again. They tried again. We'll come up to it again. Yeah. This is the guy who I said he's going to get deep throated, right? This is the guy. Alex being rude today. But if we reclaim this, all right, then they can have lift off. And so you've got to zoom out. If you're trading short here, you have to remind yourself where our best entries were this morning. They were right up here. So yes, we're making lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. But there's a chance, all right, if they're going to keep bidding here, of a squeeze back at some point. So you've got like a diminishing edge as we trade lower for short side, haven't you? Hopefully there's your free lesson. That helps a little bit. It's the best way I can explain it. Do I make more money off payouts or live accounts? Oh, off my swing accounts, mate. Certainly more money off my swing accounts. But like I said, I'm not a financial advisor. All right. I'm just a guy on YouTube. Take what I say with a pinch of salt. All right. You need to do what's right for you. But my advice, make money out of prop firms, invest it. Doesn't need to be into stocks and shares or ETFs or whatever. That's what I do. It can be into houses if that's your thing, or other businesses. But passive income, passive income, passive income. This should be your cash cow for passive income. What I would say right now, we are failing this 85, right? You can see it right here. IB. If we're going to do an IB expansion today, what do you know? It would take us right down into here. All right, I'm not going to be short here. I mean, if I was still holding positions up here, I'd be willing to sit in this, but this is the same kind of thing. Liquidity versus 85. This can happen. I'm not trading that. I'm done for the day. I've made my money. But this is where I originally thought we would target today, didn't I? 900s. Alex kept saying to you, 900s. But you need to get through this 100 lot at 29,000 and then you'll see the break. But you can see it is just non-stop selling. Every pop's getting sold into right now. Thanks for Istanbul, Turkey. You are totally welcome. Took one trade today with Alex, made 2K, one and done, guys. I'm done. Thanks, dude. Nice work. That's great work. Can I explain active buyer, passive buyer, seller? Well, it's all about whether you're providing liquidity or taking liquidity. Yeah, so if you're providing liquidity to the market, you're a passive buyer or passive seller, which means you're a limit buyer or limit seller. If you're taking liquidity from the market, it means you're an aggressive buyer or aggressive seller, which means you are market ordering in. All right, because remember, the book will not move, as in the level 2, the DOM, the order flow. We do not move unless you've got both sides. So currently, right, at 29,000, we have 125 lot passive buyer. All right, we've got a limit buyer sat here. We're going to need someone to aggressively sell at least 100 lot to fill him. All right, so we're going to need a market seller or aggressive seller to sell 29,000. They're going to have to sell over 135 lots. If they do that, they're going to try and force this breakdown. But we've got lots of buying on the tape. If you look above me, all these red lines here, you can see this arrow. This is all passive buying down here, right? They're trying. They're going to attempt to absorb the tape. Look at this, 125 lot. They're going to attempt to absorb the tape into 29,000. If we get the excessive sell through it, which I think they're very close to trying, then we're going to look to probably trade down to 29,000. Now, if we look down at 900, we're starting to see some bids form down there. So here we go. It's happening live as we talk. We can watch this. We're about to fill 29,000, 127 lot. You're going to need a very aggressive seller here of 124 lot or bigger. See how we came right into 29,000? So we're front running it. We will sell through him. I would imagine we will sell through him. But you can see we're getting very, very tight on the book above me. All right, so this is a great example live. There you go. They just sold through him. So now we just filled their seller, an aggressive seller of 162 lot, got filled at 29,000. Now, if we can't move lower than that, then that aggressive seller becomes stuck, doesn't he? And that is why it's important to understand who's positioned and how they are positioned. So if I show you up here now, what I was just talking about live. Look at this. This is the 29,000, right? 181 lot. All right. That's a seller, aggressive seller. Did we move lower after they sold? No, we didn't. Not yet anyway, right? Which means that passive buyer who was there all day just absorbed the tape there. Now, we need to move under 29,000 for this big boy seller to feel comfortable. And if he doesn't get that move under, and I would imagine if we start to break over 29,030, because he's sold down here, his stop's probably up here. So if we start to break over 30, you'll probably see a bit of a squeeze back up, right? So this, if you imagine, if you're a seller down here, your stop goes here. If they break through here, they'll probably start to try and see a squeeze back up. Here we go. So here comes the 30s. And if they break 30s, they will look for a squeeze to leave this seller at the low trapped. Here comes the 30s. So it's a big, big level here, because this, if we think about this, this is our box, right? This is our box right now. This is the box. Sellers defending the highs, buyers defending the lows. Make sense? All right, so if we break 30s, there's a squeeze. If we break 29,000, there's a big sell underneath it. All happening live. All right, this is all happening live. This is why I watch the tape live. I have to be able to see. If I don't have Bookmap, you would have heard me say I feel blind. Here's the break. They've got a chance to break down now and come and fill all these buy orders lower. And they'll be looking for 28,900 if they can. If they return back inside of this, it will be a failed break. So sellers will want to continue to sell 29,000 here. Otherwise, they're going to get stuck. Here we go. So they're selling. Here's the retest to 29,000, and they need to sell this right here, right now. Otherwise, they will start to get stuck for the lift back up to the upside of the box. So the moment they're trying to sell 10s. Now, if this pullback holds 29,000, I would say these sellers might be in trouble. The low of day auction does not look good. Oh, it doesn't look too bad down here, but it doesn't look great. So it's a battle now. It is a battle down here. And the 29,000 is your over-under. Staying heavy under it. They're staying heavy again. They want to fill all these guys. I think down here is where we want to come to. Like I said at the beginning of the day, that would be down here, right? Right, this is why we have boxes, we have levels, and we understand. So think about what's happened here. There's a passive buy here, there's aggressive selling here. All the time we're under 29,000, we look for the break. Same here. There was an aggressive buy here at 85. We came back to them. They probably tried again. We failed 85. We sold 29,000. If we keep selling 29,000, this is where we're coming into. This also lines up perfectly with the put walls, which also line up with the fibs, right? So do we have Confluence? Yes, we got pretty good Confluence. 1.5 measured move would be into, well, let's call it 75. 1.61 would be into 950. Full measured move, 100% of the measured move will be into 868. This is the area of liquidity we were looking at from the previous week, and it's also a put wall. So I think the market will probably find a bid here. If we fail that, we can think about this naked point of control, all right? But not until that point. So we go box to box. Box to box, right? Last night we did the same. Box to box, box to box, box to box. If we get under this, we probably go box to box. This is why we draw them on. These help us understand where we want to trade. We want to trade from here to here. We probably want to trade from here to here. This might then want to trade from here to here. If we reclaim that here to here. If we reject that, back down. If we get a break, back down. It's just how the market moves. No more sauce, all right? Too much sauce. I'm giving you too much sauce. Do the fucking course. What's my definition of Globex session for levels? What do you mean? These levels. This was a clear pivot in Globex. You could have marked out the 830, but for me, we're into New York session at this point. So London, really, for me, the London lows were here at 173. Those were our low of Globex. Technically speaking, you could have put this 830 pivot, but this is New York money at that point. Right, this is New York money. This is like London, and this is Asia. Asia here. You can just mark out the high and lows pre-market. You're absolutely fine to do that as well. Do you remember I said, don't be a dip buyer today. Chill out, bruv. Is it best to use ticks over time for order flow? It doesn't matter. The order flow is going to read the action that's happening. Like when I'm looking at Bookmap, it's a time-based chart, but the action it's showing me is tick-based, isn't it? So you get both. Here you go. So they're starting to break now. You are seeing an aggressive break now. If we think about Bookmap, what we just saw, think about this. What did they just try and do? What did they just try and do here? They tried to reclaim 29,000, didn't they? What did they fail to do? They failed to reclaim 29,000, which means there's passive selling here, and they're starting to run. Think about every dip. But remember when I say, those in Discord will remember, I said wait for there to be a shift in tape. You will see it. This is from experience in the market. Let me show you something. Think about this for psychology. Okay, I'm going to go to a 15-minute chart. This is where people struggle. I promise you this is where people struggle. All right? We have been in a dip buying model for a long time. Look. Buy the dip, rewarded. 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 Yeah? So mentality of traders is buy the dip, be rewarded. That's what they've got used to. Okay, that's fine. That's worked. Narrative. Daily. Should we be trying to buy the dip above the weekly Bollinger Band, above or at the daily Bollinger Band? Should we be trying to buy the dip up here? No, right? What happens every time you buy a dip up there? Liquidated. Oh my God, can't draw it. Liquidate. Oh my God, TradingView, you horrible bugger. Liquidated. 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 Liquidate. You get my point? How do we start every single session? High time frame. Where are we? Do we want to be buying up here? No. Obviously not. All right, obviously not. Okay, so the next thing to think about is structure. What's the structure? Okay, well, what do we have on the current week now? Think about the highest time frame. That's a failed breakout on a weekly. Right, that's a pin high. That's a failed breakout on something over 2 standard deviations extended on a weekly. Right, we're over 2 standard deviations extended. I'm not going to be a buyer up here. Okay, that's 2 for 2, telling me if I don't want to be a buyer, I probably want to be a seller if there's a setup. High time frame. Who's stuck? Current week's profile. Where did we open up today? Here. What makes the most sense? Pops to sell, right? Simple. Very, 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 very simple. Once you see it, you won't unsee it. Where's the dip buy opportunity? Well, where do we have structure? Probably in here, right? So it's probably going to be in here, or even better, in here. All right, nice dip buying. If it doesn't provide an opportunity there, and we sell there, that's okay. And we stay sell side, because remember, we buy the right side of the curve, right? So we would need to see a V, higher time frame, and in here, lower time frame, we'd be looking for that, buying this. If we don't see that, and they sell this, we come down to previous week value area low. If we sell this, we come down to this node of transition here, 27.8. If we sell this, we come down to naked point of control from the week before. If we sell this, we come down to naked point of control from the week before, and we'll be looking for the same things at each of these. All right, these are the areas where lower time frame, we're looking for this kind of pattern here to come back up. All right, excess low, trade back up. We don't buy the most premium price of all time when we're leaving buyer's trap. Just let that sink in. This is the highest price of all time with a failed breakout, the most extreme premium in the history of the market, and we've left buyers trapped. Why the fuck would you be trying to buy down here today? Zoom out I would say a nice level to buy off right now is some. Oh, don't do that. Is somewhere down here where we get a bit more compact. And if we zoom out further, we want these RBS zones, right? That's where I'd love to be a buyer. Might not come back that far. I don't want to be a buyer up there. No chance. No chance. Not right now. Not when we're pulling back off it. Okay. Alex, I made over $250 on 2 Perform PA accounts today. First day, both of them. So given the payout rules on OPEX, I'm stopping there. Is that a sensible approach? Certainly. If you're going to do base hits of 250 over 10 days, yes. That's a great idea. Do I think we're hit 29K? We already have. Maybe these are old questions. Let me zoom down to the bottom. If I've missed on the questions, I'm sorry. There's a lot in here. Emma, am I a seller here? I'm not. I've made my money. That doesn't mean you can't, but for me, we're in a downtrend. I'm certainly not a buyer. But for me, like, I've made my money. All right. My main thesis was selling this. All right. Maybe you could have sold this at the 85s. I'm certainly not a buyer. But like you want to be selling in one of these. I wouldn't be selling here. Like you are returning in. I do think you're going to do this, but remember, as we move lower, all right, you get an increased chance of this move back up. All right, whereas these were starting to come into pivots. Right, these are well positioned to get the whole moves. I certainly wouldn't be a buyer. Look at the flow zones. Think about what we had yesterday. We didn't have this. Look at the flow zones. Where's your checklist? Think about the checklist to go through the day. All right, where are we opening up? Where's previous day value? All right, here's previous day value. Okay, we're stuck under it. Where's previous week value area high? Okay, we're stuck under it. We're inside previous week value, so we can come right down to here for fair value. Okay, so we're in a short. Where's the VWAPs? Okay, there's your 24-hour. There's a New York. Okay, they're sloping down. They're stacked the correct way. Cash is under 24-hour. We're in a sell. Great. Where's current day value? Right here. All right, we don't really want to be selling lower than current day value, but we will increase value as we move down. Everything's in a sell. There's no reason to be a buyer today. None, other than your ego, right? It's your ego that will tell you this is too cheap, buy it. No. Did I take any trades? No. No, I didn't take anything today. I sat here and did nothing. Did I sell my SOXS positions? No, I'm still, I paid myself a little bit of money, but I'm still in them. I'm still in, but I've paid myself, I've basically taken my risk off. But remember, we got long here yesterday. All right, so I've taken a bit of risk off. There's my move. I'm up $1 a share. And we see, for me, I want to see if we can get up into some of these pivots. I'd love to see us, we're approaching this now. So 970, 1086, 13, 15, 16, right? That's going to take days. But if we get follow through, if this market starts to get follow through, I want to hold some for a swing in that, but I've paid myself some, right? But this is what we're looking for. This move here, and if there was a complete collapse, we'd come up here, but I don't think we're going to see that. This is not an investment. This is a trade, right? It's triple leverage. I'm actually in the same one, but quad leveraged. That's a nice trade. So I notified you guys last night in Discord. All right, still breaking down. Like I said, 900s. I think that's level 75. Remember, this is the measured move. This is a 1.5 measured move of your IB. I think we're coming down into this, though. This was the target at the beginning of the day. And they continue to sell here aggressively. Since I didn't take any trades, I'll give you 350 points. Oh, thank you, my friend. Big seller on Bookmap getting absorbed? No, not right now. There's some selling here at 66. They're coming low. They're just getting aggressive. They're getting aggressive. What I'd say is there was a buyer who got absorbed on that pop-up towards the 95s. They're getting very aggressive here for the dump. Right, they're trying to get down into this. This is your cover point, folks. All right, you need to be out 80, 90% of your position into here. This was the grey box. Box, 2 box. All right, be out, be done, be happy. And then you can hold 10% because there is a chance we come into this naked POC. This is from the previous week. So if we're going to transition the whole of the previous week from previous week value area high, right, down to here, that would be a very good trade. But I would only be holding 10% for that if you're still in this. Right, this is the move. This is what we wanted. You're into your grey box. Look at that, top of the grey box. What do we say, 900s? There's a big buyer at this lower day, which means I think we're going to break lower. We probably pump up a little bit and break lower. Here you go. Alex, you have opened my eyes. Unfortunately, most will not see the light because they're too fixed receiving signals. You're truly teaching us how to fish. Thanks, Trader Doc. I'm glad I've helped you. Why do I call it naked POC? Because it was never tested. Yeah, exactly. You're here called naked. Some people call it virgin. If it's an untested level, it's fresh. It's a fresh level. It's a fresh level. Is the shorter gamma red line just a smaller position than the long red line below it? Yeah, so this put wall is bigger than this wall. Yeah, so this is a bigger cover point than this. All right, this is a bigger put wall than this one. That's why this is P2, this is P5. So this is the 5th biggest. This is the 2nd biggest, and 80s was the 1st biggest. So we're under that. We're probably going to come to this one down here. And then is there anything lower? No, that's it for the moment. Let me have a look in Tanuki in case it's updated elsewhere. Yeah, there's a lot of activity at, what's this, 880. Big activity at 880. Underneath 880. Yeah, 875. There's a little bit at 670. There's a little bit starting to build at 460. 875 is the level, though. That's the level. Look at VIX. Yeah, 19s. And if it breaks that, 20s. And what did we say on Friday? It seemed a bit odd to me on Friday that they suddenly put a massive call wall up at 20s. That was the... Once you've done this long enough, guys, when you're here long enough, you will start to see stuff that your average trader doesn't see. When you're looking at VIX all the time and you suddenly see, why is there a giant call wall at 19 and 20s all of a sudden? Oh, I wonder, why are we at the top Bollinger Band? Why yesterday was every single asset green? Look at the difference today. Oh, crude and Dixie are green and everything else is red, and VIX is green. So crude, Dixie, and VIX is green and everything else is red. Oh, we're back in alignment. What happened yesterday? Fugazi, bullshit, absolute nonsense. Yesterday was the Fugazi day to make all these dip buyers go into a fucking frenzy because they're crazy people, right? You heard me talk about it yesterday on stream. You see me post it on X. I was giving you the hint. They're about to get slaughtered. That was the hint. The market was giving you little clues yesterday. It's just whether you were willing to look at them or not. When you're here long enough, you'll see them. You will start to see them. With the TPT sale right now, which do you think is the best account? Brian, I'd say there's no best account, right? But hear me out here. The hardest ones to pay to pass are the 150Ks. But this is the only time between now and Sunday where 25K, 50K, 150K are all going to be $100 for a reset. So if you're going to have a go at them, now's the time to do it because it's only $100 for reset. On top of that, you get the most room in that in terms of drawdown, and you get max payouts for them. So if you can get them past, you should keep them a long time because it provides a lot of opportunity to take daily payouts from them. Otherwise, if you're more comfortable sizing down, go with the 50Ks, that's fine. So grey box, first reaction on the P5, on that first put wall, first reaction. We have a low volume node net here. Now sellers now will want to protect this node. There you go, pop straight into it. This is the node that they will want to protect to see this flush. If they can't do this, flush here, then you're gonna see us start to build back for the upside. But let me just check the order flow. I don't think the auction at the low is good enough yet. There's a little imbalance down there. I think we're probably making new low. There's a little bit caught down there, but not that much. Doesn't mean we make a new low now. It might mean that we push up towards 970, 980 and come back for it later in the day. All right, read the next few questions. How are we doing? 40 minutes left. Does the Flow Zone Pro indicator work on small caps? It will work on everything. But what you've got to be aware of on small caps is you are really hunting for liquidity on small caps more than anything else by the nature of what it is. Who's TPT? Take Profit Trader. Take Profit Trader. Alex, what's your criteria for adding into a trade and managing risk? You never want to add too heavy that you bring your risk down into a danger point. There's the break for the new low. So there's the pop back up, break for new low. Still think you can build a bit more excess. There's 119 caught at that low now, which is better than what before. If I show you Bookmap, why I didn't think that was finished before. Right, we had buyers at the lows. We're starting to see selling at the lows, which is how you get caught. I still think they want to fill all of this, but you can see they're starting to protect this guy. I still think there's a drift down into here. I still think they want the 900s, maybe lower. Let's see. Yeah, some bids lower. But you want to be out 80, 90% of your position right now. Sorry, one of you asked for criteria for adding. So here's what I do. This is how I like to work. When I'm looking for, let's say I was looking for the guy at 80 to get stuck, right? I will start putting pieces on here, small pieces on here, feelers I call them, right? As I start to see rejection happen. And then I'll add once I start to see confirmation and sellers coming in, okay? And I won't add again until I see a big drop and pop start to fail again. Because what I don't want to do, right, if I'm in here, adding here, what I don't want to do is add down here and then move my core down into a stop here. So what I need to do is add on these pops to leave my core position higher so that I'm adding, right, without increasing my risk. What you must not do is increase your risk in terms of the stop. You might say by the nature of adding, you're increasing your risk. If you're adding well, you're not increasing your risk. Let me give you an example on the chart. If you're, let's say you're short and you get short here, one lot, and then you add here, one lot. So now you got two lots, your core would be 90, right? You don't want to add down here. If you add down here on the next break without it retracing, your core is going to get here and you're going to get stopped out. But if you add, remember, you're risking this pivot high. If you add here, right, your core is still protected. You're still in the money. You're not risking more money. We break down, second attempt, you peel one off. Okay, core moves down to this pivot. You add here, one back on, you'll move down, you're still in the money. Makes sense. Here you go. All right, be done with this. There's the 900 break. Be done with this. 10% only. Obviously, I'm not in anymore. 10% only now. You can't see it. Oh my God. I put you on the wrong one. I'm so sorry, folks. All right, let's try that again. All right, guys, be done with this. 10% only left, looking for this naked point of control. Basically 700 if you're holding a runner for that naked POC. But you need to be done with this. This is the move. You've completed everything now. This is the measured move. This is the put wall. This is everything you'd want to see. This is the 900. This is where we were targeting today. Anything beyond this is a gift. anything beyond this is a gift. It's absolute panic from these buyers getting slaughtered. Like we said, slaughterhouse was here. 900 to the level, 10% left for that drift into 700. You never know, you might get it. You never know, you might get it. All right, let's go through this again. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Okay, let's say you got something on here, risking this high. You break down, you add here. So now you're 2 lots. Your average price would be 85. Okay, you're not increasing your risk because you're still risking up here. Nothing's increased. You see breakdown. What you don't do is add here and move your risk down to here. That would be a problem, right? You cover some, you add on pops. Your risk now, remember, core position was probably here. You've added on a pop. Your core position is probably still this swing high. You're comfortably in the money. What you mustn't do is add too aggressively, too low, all right? It needs to be on pops so that if you think about your average position, you move your average position in line with trend. What you never want to do is get too aggressive and move your average position to like here. That's what will hurt you. All right, this is the run now. If they do a horrible stop run, this is it. But like I said, I would be very careful now thinking about anything further downside. It is holding a runner and holding a runner only. You really do not want to be aggressively looking lower here. This is a big level, which they might very well want to save around these put walls. Okay, it doesn't mean it can't break lower, but you want to be managing your position now because they can trade this right back upside now that they've hit this level. They can come right back up here. Remember, we're quite extended away from value. So if they want to do this, they will. If there's complete panic, you'll get your runner to do this. Could we go long here? No, my friend. It's an area of interest, but ask yourself, are you seeing this? That counter trend long? No, you're not. All right, we're still in this, aren't we? All right, you're not seeing a pivot. It's an area where big money might want to buy, but if you just guess this and you get flush, you're gonna be upset. You've got to wait for the market to start to do this, right? Because you are in a major sell. All right, do not guess the bottoms. Just because I'm saying be done with the short does not mean you go long. What's my advice for one contract trade, buy and hold for the bigger move or exit? Yeah, I mean, I guess just aim for each liquidity level. So like if you could have gone short here, cover here, short here, cover here again, short here, cover here again, short here, cover here again. Just play each leg. Think about what the market's done today. Let's draw it out. Giving you opportunities. If you did a 1 MA, that's what it would look like today. Alex, how do you know when the pullbacks are done? I'm asking because sometimes I have a problem with entering too late. You want to wait for the turn and you want to wait for, right, you want to enter as close to flow zones as possible. All right, pull back to flow zone, flow zone, flow zone. You don't want to enter extended away from it. And then in these levels, you want to see buyers get trapped, buyers get trapped, buyers get trapped. You can wait for a second leg and a break. All right, a second leg and a break. Right, this is, when you see this is quite nice because then you can risk versus this, for example. I wouldn't be selling that low, but just to mean in terms of a pattern, right? It's really nice, isn't it? Look at that. In terms of a pattern, right, it's the same level. In terms of a pattern, what did we look for up here? Same thing, right? Just got funded on a 50K Lucid. I recently took my 4th payout and I feel like I'm on the right path, but I know your course will give me the extra push I need to become a great trader. Oh, nice, Danica. Congratulations. That's awesome work. Am I still in? No, I've been done for a while, folks. I've made good money. I'm done with it. I'm happy. Like I said, I don't overcommit myself. My job's to make money from the market. I don't need to get out every little piece of meat off the bone. I want a good chunk. I want to take a big bit of the thigh out of it and then be happy with it. I'm not looking to like gnaw the bone to death. Cup of Joe just got back. Did you end up taking anything else after that first big drop? I took it all the way down to 29,000. Right, we got this. That's what we got. Some guys took this. This might be the best move of the day, to be quite honest. Would I go swing long from previous week point of control considering NVIDIA earnings? I mean, no, I wouldn't just trade it because it's a level. I mean, it's just a line on a chart, right? We'd have to see how we react to that level. Just because of NVIDIA earnings, what if we've priced everything in? I said it yesterday. What if we've priced everything in? My tweet yesterday said, what happens when you priced in the best possible outcome on every macro aspect, but you end up not getting it? Asking for a friend. Is the war over? I don't think so. Is inflation low? I don't think so. We're just pricing in max position all the time. And my follow-up to that was slaughterhouse on greed and feared is setting up. And I did a little sign of a piggy. So we all know the rules with that. Bulls make money, bears make money, pigs get slaughtered. I said ES, NQ, SOXL, GC, CL, UNG, Dixie, VIX, all green. ... I was giving you hint after hint after hint after hint there. Where can we say the taper's reversing? Where can we say, or when is it reversing? Well, if you start to see you would want to see a reaction, wouldn't you? Which you're starting to see, right? You're starting to see a base. You'd want to see a reaction and a pullback hold a level where sellers are getting trapped. Lower day auction looks good down here. Lower day auction looks good at 860. So you're starting to see the reaction here. That's why I said I'd be done with it. And let's have a little look. All right, so if pullbacks hold 70s now, certainly if they hold 95s, but if they hold 70s now, you're going to leave those sellers stuck at the low of day for a relief back up. But you're going to need to see like 90s to 70s hold. We can still go into a sell, but if they start to hold the pullback, this is the first time you've seen like some form of reaction here. And if they start to hold the pullback, you probably start to see relief rally up towards probably 840s would be the first point that they come up towards. Okay, but like again, we can still go into a sell, but if they hold a pullback sort of 70s, maybe 80s to 70s, if they hold that pullback, you will see those sellers at the low of day get caught. And remember, we've hit all the targets, everything's done. I wouldn't be a seller anymore. I think you're probably going to see a squeeze back up. There you go. So there's the start of the hold of the pullback. And I'm actually going to take a little piece, if possible, up to VPOC here. So I'm looking to see if I can get a trade up towards 840 here. It's very dangerous. Playing with house money. Beautiful. Here we go. Into the Momo clouds. Peeling some off here at 15s. Moved my stop up. And we'll just see if this goes to 840, 940 would be great. Paid myself no matter what. Counter trend here. That was too delicious to ignore. And if we get through this pivot, then I think we go up towards 940. This is why I've paid myself a little bit into this pivot here. Think about what we've seen here. This is the pivot. All right, so I'm long from here to here. And if we get relief, great. Here we go. Ideally, we come up to 940. Here we go. Here we go. Beautiful, beautiful. I just want you to know you're my favorite girl, NQ. All right, if we get over 940, there's a bigger squeeze, but I'm paying myself a little bit more into here. I think 940s is coming, folks. It's a big transition area. It's where a big 500 lot buyer got stuck. So I know he's stuck there at 940. So I don't want to get too aggressive on this counter trend rally until we base above 940. Some tiny size now. If we start a base above 940, it'll be unbelievable. And I'll move my stop up into the money. I'm going to just protect the whole number at 900s here. So runners only. If we get 940, I'll peel a bit more off. If we dunk under 900, I'll stop out. I don't care. It's a counter trend trade. I'm not going to oversize here. If you want to risk 80s, that's fine. All right, I'm out of this now. If you want to risk 80s or 70s, that's fine. I'm not going to do that. But it does make sense based on what I'm seeing there. But just paying myself as I see fit, because counter trend in these markets very, very difficult. Yeah, 940 is where we're trying to go. Like I said, if you want to risk 80s to 70s, this makes sense down here. This node here is where sellers are stuck underneath this. See how they just transitioned and held it? So if you want to hold this for the 940s, this is where they're trying to go. Over this, bigger relief can happen, because in here there's a huge buyer stuck. This is why I sold some good chunk into there. Again, a counter trend, these are the hardest trades in the book. I only took it because it just set up really, really nice there very quickly, and already done with it. I think you've got a shot here. You've got to get back above this 200 lot player at 15s. You get above 15s, you're going to go for 40s. I just want to see the delta up here at 40s. Is it as big as I think? Yes, it is. All right, you've got a 518 lot stuck at 39.25. That is your over-under, right? You get over that, he's comfortable. But that's why we said 40s. There's a 500 lot stuck at 40s. You wouldn't see that looking at candles. So good hold of in front of those 80s and 70s. Yeah, 40s, massive level. Massive, massive, massive level now. That is serious size when we say 500 stuck at one single point delta. That is some serious JME, serious. Why are you serious? We're coming up for it. You're back above the 15s. You got a chance here. If they hold 15s, they're going to look for 40s. 39.25 is his actual area. JME, serious. Man like Jamie. He is a legend, absolute legend, I agree. Da-da-da. 20 minutes left. Would a long position be good above 40s? If it can base, yeah, you don't want to just be a trigger long. What you then need is this for the next long position. I remember longs was like basically here on that turnaround. 40s is the level. It's coming up. It's actually 39.25. So I'm telling you now, you want to pay yourself some in front of 39.25, because that is a serious size buyer who's stuck up there. Right, look at the tape. 518 lots stuck at 39.25. You want to pay yourself a little bit in front of him. If you get above him, he's comfortable. You can think about the trade back up to 29,000, 29,015. Not before then. So if you're already long, you're paying yourself a bit here, and then you wait to see if you can get above this 39.25. You just tagged it. It's very, very big level here. Here it is. You're tagging it. Starting to get through it. If you find acceptance, if you squeeze over this, you can think about 29,000. So you're already up. What are we up from here, from this pivot? You're already up 50 points. If you base over this, you can get this whole move up here. But pay yourself some no matter what now. All right, there's your pivot. Pay yourself some no matter what. You're not risking this. You're risking 70s. Pay yourself some no matter what into this guy at 40s. And if you find acceptance over this, then you can think about this for your runners. Remember, this is counter trend. This is the hardest trade in the book. But if they hold over 40s, there's a chance. Not if they can't. I want to make that clear. Not if they can't. Past an apex. Come on, you gooners. Come on. Arsenal. Arsenal. They actually added more buyers caught there at 39.25. So there's now 523 lots stuck there and 100 lots stuck at 40. You've got to base above it. I'm telling you. You got to base above it if you're going to get more relief. Can I tell how I set up the grey boxes? Again, they're just high volume node transitions. That's all they are. That's all they are. They're just areas of liquidity where I think we are likely to get a response. That's all they are, folks. All right. Where can you view my P&L statistics? Well, if you come to my house, I can show you, but you're not invited. I mean, or you can just join me. Why does it matter what I make? It's so weird. If they can't get back above 940, does it fall back to low of day? I would say unlikely low of day, but it would probably fall back in towards 890s. Let me just check the footprint. 880 to 870. Low of day auction looks okay at the moment. All right, so where do we just come into? 40s, right? 40s. Where are we getting stuck? 40s. Why are we getting stuck there? Because the buyer's caught there. That's why he's caught there. All right, so buyers now need to absorb into 80s to 70s. If they fail to do that, then you're going to get a low of day. Again, counter trend, pay yourself, hardest trade in the book if you're going to take that trade. If they can't hold on down here, you will get a new lower day break. That's just what we're seeing right now. Can only say what's happening on the tape. Is there a giveaway at 1K? Yeah, we're doing Apex giveaway. We'll do it at the end of stream. We got to wait another 20 minutes. Where's the next possible sell? You'd need a huge relief rally now. You'd need a huge relief rally. You've been in a sell all day. All right, think about this. Think about this. There's the higher time frame sell. Right? You need a reprice to even consider it. Somewhere up here. That's probably it. 29,100-ish. Somewhere up there. I wouldn't be selling down here. I would like to see relief. Maybe they sell 29,010s. But I think you're better off waiting for that higher time frame breakdown. That's what I would be waiting for. Ideally, tomorrow. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That would be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Something like that would be cool. Or Thursday, Friday if they go in a huge puke this week. Either way, these are the levels I gave you in the newsletter this week. Pretty sure. Let me just check what levels I gave you this week. All right, let's have a look. Bear outlook. At this stage, either bears have been largely blown out or remain sidelined entirely. Thursday offered a short-term opportunity for sellers to regain some control, but the market failed to follow through lower. For the week ahead, bears realistically have two primary playbooks. Wait for a blow-off top into major resistance or look for acceptance and sustained weakness underneath 29,100, 28,850, 28,600. A notable failure underneath 28,600 will open the door towards 28,000, 27,800, 27,400. Below there, volume begins to build heavy at 26,400. The key to being a contrarian trader is in the environment and patience. Trying to blindly pick a top in a momentum-driven melt-up will typically add fuel to the rally. If and when the market is ready for a meaningful higher time frame pullback. It will provide confirmation. Importantly, those will be both technical and fundamental catalysts on the horizon that could provide that opportunity together. All right, so that's what we're starting to see, a drift into those levels now, aren't we? All right, 29 ones failed. 29 ones failed. Where did I say where I'd think about another short? 29 ones. All right, they failed for a drift towards 28,850 is what I said. What did we just hit? 28,850. There's your higher time frame failure move. All right, from the weekend. If we see sustained pressure underneath this, you can look for 28,600. Hello. All right, 28,600. And under that, you can really get a move down to 28,000. Hello. And 27,800, 27,400, 27,800, 27,400. You see how I measure that out? Dum, 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 dum. All right. Why couldn't I give you these moves up here in the newsletter? Because we hadn't made this formation yet. But that's why I said you will get confirmation this week. It built out for you. So those were the levels. They've come in. They have come in. All right, you just held this dip in front of 80s. You're back to the 40s again. All right, so this is, you can see sellers are now caught at low of day. 40s is where the buyers caught. Over 40s relief. Read some of these out, sorry. When you say pro trend, are you talking about the trend for the day or the session? I'm talking about alignment of time frames. All right, so for me, I always talk about, for me, H1 is God mode. All right, so what's the H1 doing? All right, we're in a sell. All right, this is here. That's the sell, that's the neckline. Okay, we're in a sell. So what's the pro trend? Down to where? RBS. Resistance becomes support. All right, support becomes resistance. We're selling from here to here. So the pro trend in the H1 is down. Yeah? From here. Not in the daily or anything else. Just in the H1, it's down. So what are we looking for? Lower time frame, M15, M5, M1. We're looking for a reason to sell. Right? All of this in here. What we're not looking to do, if the H1 is doing this, is trying to buy here and 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 here. That's how you get murdered. Biggest mistake in the game. How long I've been doing this for? Too long. Too long. Where do I live? Los Angeles. Where is the buy entry? The cheapest buy entry is down here at the moment. But you've got to understand this is a counter trend buy, but this is where the sellers are currently stuck. Right, and the relief is from here to 40s. That you've had 2 attempts now to break 40s. Like I said, 40s, you can see right here. There's your shelf. Right, they're trying to leave the sellers stuck at 85s, but their buyer, the 500 lot buyer, is stuck at 40s. He keeps selling each time he comes in because he is in pain right now. This is why I'm like, that's the relief. That's the first attempt. I'm done with it. All that you can hope for now, if you're trying to play counter trend, is this move to here, and maybe if you get lucky here. I wouldn't be a seller down here. It doesn't mean it can't break lower, but the move's happened. But I can show you on Bookmap, there is a giant lot who is stuck up there. All right, if we come to 40s. See this guy here. This is a few guys in one go. That's 344 lot just here. And then they added more and more and more and more. And if we come here on the right hand side, if I can't take you up to 340, you'll see over 500 lots stuck there. I need to drag this up. Please don't move, Bookmap. Stop moving, Bookmap. There it is. See that? 534 lots stuck at 39.25. That is buy side delta. That is a market buyer who bought 524 lot at 40s, right? Which is why we keep coming up to that level and rejecting. Remember what I said earlier? What is supply? What is resistance? It's someone who's stuck. You have A 500 lot buyer stuck up here right now. Why do I not want to sell him anymore? What's the low of day auction? You have sellers at the low. This is signaling a potential end of auction, right? We've hit a measured move with sellers who are stupid and want to sell the low, right? So where's the pivot? Right now, the pivot, right, is here, right? That's your pivot. Look, sellers keep trying to break down. Can't. Buyers keep trying to break out. Can't. So your pivot is basically 90s to 40s. It's 50-point dance in here. Someone will win. But I don't want to trade in the dance, right? We've had the easy move. We have had the easy move. Yeah, what's my blood type? Yeah, exactly. You're a weird person saying you want to post my address. What kind of like weird person are you? You got weird energy, mate. That's a weird thing to say. Very easy. Goodbye. You just got yourself banned. That's weird energy, mate. Bye. Some people are so weird. Can be here all day and help, and that's your energy. Fucking weirdo. Yeah, exactly. And if you're listening and you think I don't take that fucking stuff seriously, if you turn up, I'll fucking end you, mate. I have no problem doing that. If you don't think I haven't been threatened before and that I'm going to sit here and you're going to intimidate me, you're fucking wrong. So if you want to come to my doorstep, try it. Try it. Good luck with that. It won't end well, buddy. Sit behind your keyboard all you want. You want to turn up and shake hands, we'll see how that goes for you. Zero patience for that, buddy. Zero. And if you don't think I've had stuff like that before, I have. It won't go well for you, mate. It really won't. Well, exactly. Do it to me in Texas. Let's see how that goes. Another reason to move to Texas. Well, quite right. Thank you for teaching. What's the best course to begin with? Begin with the free stuff on YouTube, mate. My free stuff on YouTube. Start there. Do as much for free as possible. Much for free as possible. Getting political, but being from the UK, living in the US, what's your take on guns? I won't comment on guns in the US, but let me ask you this. Being from the UK, what's your take on knives? Because if you're a good person, you don't have one, but the UK is full of scumbags, and they're all carrying them from, I don't know, age of 8 or 9. So... Hadix, are you using level 1 or full level 2 for Bookmap? Level 2, mate. Alex, does the Flow Zone Pro indicator include all of the indicators on your screen like Bookmap and the grey box? No, Bookmap's its own thing. It's got nothing to do with me. That's its own thing. The grey boxes are manually drawn on. It's not part of an indicator. You got a knife problem in Australia. I mean, in England, it's terrible. I mean, I'll tell you a story. Before I moved here, me and my wife were coming outside our front door in London, and these kids like threw their trash on the ground in our front door, like McDonald's. And my wife like picked it up and took it over to them. They were probably like 13 or 14. She was like, "You can put that in the bin rather than throwing it." And they ignored her, and she's like, "Put it in the bin," and then they smacked the trash out of her hand, and I was like, "The fuck are you doing?" And they just instantly pulled out a knife. That is the problem with the UK right now. And I'm friends with officers in the UK, and they can't do bugger all about it. They feel pinned on the stop and search because they don't want to get done for profiling, so they don't do it, even though they know people are carrying. The knife crime's awful. The gang crime's awful. It's a problem. It is a problem. No, it's nothing to do with religions, mate. It's got zero to do with religion at all. Are knives illegal? Yeah, they're illegal. They are. Yeah, Khan's done a terrible job. I would agree with you. London got a lot worse. Alex, you mentioned earlier that longs might be in play if it bases at 940. Does the candle closure above 940 mean that it's based? You would need expansion out of 940. Where's 940? Right here. All right, you need this out here and a hold of this, don't you? You're not seeing that. You've seen a trade from here to here and a harsh rejection of 940. All right, and we're coming back down, and you're underneath this node here, and a possible break now can happen because more buyers got caught at 940. Remember, they added 940 here. Remember, I read it saying they've actually added themselves into pain. I wouldn't be a seller down at this low, but you can't be a buyer now unless you see a base above all of this, and it might not come. It very well might not come. I'm on the wrong screen. Yeah, need to be a base above that, otherwise this break continues. Sorry, yeah, chart wasn't up. Sorry about that. All right, let's what's it called? All right, just type FZT once in chat. That's your best code for all your favorite prop firms. We're doing Apex giveaway here. Apex currently 90% on sale. You can use code FlowZone for Take Profit Trader if you want 50% off right now, but we're doing Apex giveaway here. Man, I can't believe people try and get brave like that. Fucking weirdos. I can sit here for 3 hours helping you guys make money. And there's always some fucking freak. You must think I'm like a 5-foot teenager, mate. You're going to get a shock. You are going to get a shock, bud. 90% expired on Apex. Did it really? My bad. I'm sorry. Let's have a look. I didn't know that. Did it finish yesterday then? Hopefully a new sale coming for you soon then. How many stone am I? I don't know what it is in stone. I'm £216 right now. Interesting, you got divergence here with ES, which is trying to put in a higher low, has not broken down. Still rejecting 5-minute flow zones, but has not broken down. But again, chips are weak, all right? We knew this day was coming. Chips are in a meltdown, all right? And where can we go to now? Let's look at the next. 150 is the level. So we lost 65. We talked about this. If we lose 65, probably going to trade into 150. And I'll pay myself a chunk more on this if we do it, which I'm swing long in right now as of last night. Oh, sorry, SOXS. Beautiful. What a beautiful. So I got long here yesterday, right here, right at the close. And we can now base and start going. What a beautiful move. So we're coming into that pivot that I'm looking for. Yeah, we're coming right into it. So I'm going to pay myself, anyone who took that with me in Discord, I'm going to pay myself some more into here. And if we can find acceptance in here, then I'll be willing to hold on to try and get up into the 13s. So Coop, I don't know if you're on stream right now, but I think you took calls in here. So hopefully, because I think you're a little bit earlier than me, hopefully you can base out and you get those calls for that run back up. Starting to come in for you now, buddy. All right, let's pull this winner. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. AJ Williams, 4951. Let me know you're here, AJ. AJ Williams, 4951. Yeah, congrats. All right, dude. Just shoot me an email, info@flowzonetrader.com. Send me a screenshot of you logged into YouTube, and I will sort you out with a free Apex account. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Just trying to put some sell orders out here for those swings as we're starting to see recovery on the book. Killer move. Happy with that. Happy with that. Let me just notify Discord. All right, so you can see we're trading into pivots on chips. So we're starting to see a bit of relief on SOXL. This is where I've just taken some profit on chips. If we start to see this pull back in now, all right, then you're going to see the relief start on NQ. There we go. All right, let's have a look at the excess of these lows. 89 lot, 218 lot. Yeah, starting to sort of base out a bit. You can see how each leg down is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. All right, so we started off aggressive and we're starting to get smaller. This is still the level. 40s are still the level. You can transition in here 60 to 40. All right, you can do this for a long time. It's not to say they can't break down here, they can. But this is the chop zone now, 60 to 40, and over 40, I would say there's probably relief into 29,000 and 29,100. Those are your levels. Be done with the short now. Like I said, you're 10% on for a runner or you're out completely. Do not be sitting here trying to squeeze too much out of it. Can we test 29K? Yeah, you absolutely can test 29K above here. And above 29K, I think even in here, 2950 to 29,100. Here's the level where I think it can get going. Right, you can see that move there. Again, very risky. What you really want is a higher low to set and then a higher high and go. Right, so what I'd be looking for really is, if you think about this, something like this, maybe even that little wiggle and then go. And if you're going to take that, you've got to take partials on the way. Still think 30,800 is due at some point. I mean, at some point, because we're built to go up. Absolutely. Absolutely. We can see some more relief if they want. If they want to just hold this bid here and try and send us upside the rest of the week, that's also very, very possible. We are still, remember, we're pro trend H1 down here, but we're probably gonna put in a higher low on a daily at some point. The question is when and where, right? When and where do we put that in? Starting to see it, starting to hold this now at 66s. So like I said, this grey box will be your transition. We've come excess underneath. If they start to hold sort of 66s, 70s, they're going to look to get up to 40. Remember, the relief comes over 40s, not before really, it comes over 40s. All right, we will do a course giveaway here as well. Just an introduction to trading course. Just type it once in chat. Type course once and we'll do a giveaway for that. As a reminder for those in Discord, I've got a meeting today, so I won't be around in the afternoon session. I'll be here for a little bit longer, but then I've got to jump out. All right, let's pick this winner. Winner is Brian Tang. Brian Tang Y8G. Brian Tang Y8G. Let me know you're here, Brian. They're trying to put this high low in now and get you up to 40s. That's what they're now attempting to do for you guys. Whether they can do it or not is another thing, but that's what they're attempting to do. They're trying to get you up to 40s. Remember, through the 40s, you can think about the 29,000. But they're trying to put a higher low in here and get you up there. It's very hard trade, but that's what they're looking for at the moment. Remember, it's counter trend, hardest trade in the book, like we always talk about. You're here. Congrats, Brian. All right, all I need you to do, my friend, email me, please, info@flowzonetrader.com. Send me a screenshot of you logged into your YouTube. Once you do that, I will sort you out with a free introduction to trading course. I will sit here for 5 more minutes. We'll just see if they're going to lift this up to the 40s again. So they will need to hold dips versus 60. A big seller came in at 27. But remember, they can still move all the way down into here. Here's your naked level. They can still come right down to that. But if they're going to look for relief, this is the kind of thing you'd want to see. You'd want to see them start to hold sort of 65, 70s, something here, and then try and push back up. I won't be taking this. I traded that first attempt at it here. I'm just reading what I'm seeing. Having a little look around. VIX rejecting 19s, coming back inside. ES didn't put in a lower low, so you got divergence there to ES. And semis not making a new low yet. So you just have to wait. Have to wait and see if they're willing to hold these 60s like we just talked about, or if you're going to see a new breakdown. But again, I wouldn't be short down here. It doesn't mean you're long, but I wouldn't be short down here. You are trying to force it if you're getting short here, trying to look lower. It might well break lower, but this is your worst entry of the day now. Some bids here at 50s. Just going to watch this tape with you for a minute. Just interested to see what they do, if they're willing to hold it or not. I'm going to get out for the day after this. They're trying to hold the edge. this node here. I need to actually increase this basically to 60s. This is basically at this little low volume node that they need to hold. They have to hold that to counter trend buyers or they're done. And if they hold that and they can make a little flag here and break, then they can try and get up here. But again, it's counter trend, hardest trade in the book. I say it all the time, especially on a big sell day. Especially on a big sell day. But you had some selling down here in excess at the low. Look at this transition down here at 27s, but just holding this low volume node here and this little imbalance, and if they break and lift, they try and get up to 40s. But again, like I always say, these trades are the hardest trades in the book. But you're into lunch, maybe you see some relief into lunch as they start to cover their short. So this is the hold of it, like we just talked about. And if they get this little break, they're trying to lift up to 40s. That's kind of the game right now. If they get the break, they will attempt to lift up to 40s. And then above 40s is when the fun and games will start in this market. And I'll be waiting to see if we live above 40s. Am I live every day? Yeah, I'm live every day, mate. Monday to Friday anyway. Live Monday to Friday. What are my thoughts on the hourly location? We're coming back down to a very key level. All right, if we think about where we are, we're coming back down. This node here, right? We're in this low volume area. So if we find a buyer here, we lift. If not, point of control, right? Previous week point of control. I would imagine somewhere in here, there'll be some form of response for this. If, like I said, if they let go of this, we really don't have much. All right, none of these stops got taken. All right, so I'd expect buyers to turn up somewhere in here. If not, that's a mega puke out. It's possible. It's very, very possible. But I'd expect there'd be some form of wiggle in here before they even attempt that. But we'll see. Because this is what we did where from Wednesday last week into Friday. All right, and imagine in here we'll see something build out for a bit. That would be my anticipation. How is Texas? I'll go this week. Let me go this week. Thanks, Omalabi. Very kind of you. How many people in there in the Discord group? I think it's like 350 or something. Can I explain stop loss placement? Stop loss always has to go under a swing or above a swing, right? So you would have to be like, if you were short here, your stop loss would have to be up here, or where a trap trader is. They're trying to do this move. This is what we talked about, didn't we? They need to set a higher low and try and force this up to here. And here is where the fun begins. Above this, they can also do a failed look. We're building out a huge node here. Like I said, I think we chop in here for a while. I wouldn't be short anymore down here. All right. I'm out of here, folks. How do you join the Discord? You have to do the 20-hour course, beginner to advanced course. You're starting to see it. You're starting to see it. And I will be back tomorrow, Wednesday. We'll go again. And we'll just see what we get, right? Let's see what we get this afternoon. Again, those in Discord, I won't be here in the afternoon session. I did mention it yesterday. I've got a meeting. But I will be back after close and we can see what we get. Peace and love, everyone. And what a beautiful day, eh? All the profit comes from the preparation. Tell you guys every day. Process, 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 process. All right. Peace and love. And I'll see you same thing, same time tomorrow. Use hard stops.